the same space or the sex you were assigned to at birth because you're not welcome in the space that you identify with. This is wrong. For Women Scotland Health Limited and those that share their ideology don't want trans men in their space, but they expect trans women to share the same space as cis men. Congress, this is not discrimination and exclusion, and GMB does not tolerate discrimination and exclusion. We need to be reinforcing to our employers against negative behaviour towards our trans, non-binary and intersex members. Please support this motion. Congress, I second. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Mover of Emergency Motion 6.
President, Congress, Jordan Millward, London Region, first time delegate, second time speaker now. Speaking to move this important emergency motion regarding the recent judgment of the Supreme Court and the actively dangerous interim guidance provided by the Equality and Human Rights Commission. After the decision laid down by the Supreme Court, there was a palpable sense of fear, not just amongst trans and non-binary people, but amongst the LGBTQ community as a whole. The language we have heard from then, not just from the Tories and Reform, but Labour as well, gender-critical organisations and the EHRC themselves have justified those fears. First, the consultation on updated guidance was slated for only 2 weeks, only being extended to 6 weeks after significant outcry not just from without Parliament but from within. We were also given interim guidance that, on its face, either runs counter to the law as confirmed by the Supreme Court judgment or breaches the Human Rights Act. The interim guidance states that facilities could only be used based on biological sex, but also that trans people could be excluded from those facilities if they looked too much like their assumed gender. In effect, segregation by any other name. The Supreme Court and the Equalities Act explicitly does not allow this. Any exclusions can only be applied when they are a proportionate means to achieving a legitimate aim. A blanket ban is not proportionate, and because some people might feel a bit uncomfortable, isn't a legitimate aim. This sort of exclusion, due to discomfort or ignorance, has been applied in the past to any number of minority groups, from the ethnically diverse community to gays and lesbians, when the politicians used to go, oh, the gays might be looking at your kids in the changing rooms. And we called those out as discrimination. We need to call this out as discrimination as well. The Gender Recognition Act 2004 was intentionally put in place to ensure that there was means of clarifying who counted, for the purposes of law, was a woman, was a man. However, in order to get a certificate, you need to be able to live in as that gender for a period of 2+ years. If you're excluded from these facilities, that can in fact be used as evidence that you haven't been and then denied a certificate. We heard from the wonderful Vicky McLeod the other day, and I was privileged to discuss issues with her before her speech. She's a solid GMB member, and she and all trans women, men and non-binary people deserve our support. We can't stand by and allow people who have supported bigoted groups to run the EHRC, or let them wring their hands and say, sorry, all the rights and everything that we thought that you thought you had, and all the rights the courts have upheld for you, the society has upheld for you, are actually all a mistake, so, you know, our bad. And the fact that now, 8 years ago, we had Theresa May, of all people, saying, yes, we should accept self-ID. That's insane. GMB must add our voice to ensure the EHRC actually lives up to its name, supporting equality and human rights, and trans rights are human rights. Congress, please reaffirm our union support for all workers to work and live in dignity, regardless of whether they're cis, trans or non-binary. I move.
Thank you, Jordan. Seconder.
Congress, President Lucy Atkinson, London Region, seconding Emergency Motion 6. It was an honour on Monday to hear from Victoria MacLeod, and she outlined the significant flaws in this ruling better than I ever could, and so have the previous speakers. From how it affects all women to anyone is meant to be even prove how you're assigned sex at birth is beyond me. So I will focus, and we should all focus, on what we can do to make it easier and more dignified for our trans siblings in the workplace. Like many of you, I'm a rep, and it is our duty to ensure that all of our colleagues feel safe at work. So what does this look like in terms of supporting trans people in the workplace? It means respecting people's pronouns and identity, making every effort to respect people's pronouns. And if you mess up, just correct yourself, say sorry, and make sure you do better next time. It means making the case for gender-neutral toilets, keeping sanitary products in all gendered loos, and ensuring that if your loos have lock codes on them, make sure that they're the same for all genders, so no one should feel physically blocked out of using the space they feel most comfortable in. I noticed this issue at a council I worked at. I brought it to a J2UC, and it got changed easily and made many of my colleagues feel safer. It also means educating yourself and arranging training in your branches and meetings. In my workplace, as a member of the LGBT staff committee, we arranged for gendered intelligence to come in and train staff on trans issues, and it was incredibly insightful. You can also get more information at the equality stand downstairs on how you can organise training. So Congress, please support this motion, fight transphobia, and send out a message from this union that we stand in solidarity with trans workers and trans people everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. Any delegate wish to speak in opposition? No, then can I ask Kevin Buchanan from the CEC, please? And in the meantime, can movers and seconders of 274, 276, 277 and 279 come to the front?
Thank you, President. Congress, Kevin Buchanan, GMB Scotland, responding to Emergency Motion 5 on behalf of the CEC. The CEC welcomes this motion in defence of our trans and non-binary members and are supporting it, but with a small but important qualification. That is that the EHRC's guidance of 25th April was an interim guidance only, meaning that it is not legal guidance and did not make it compulsory for employers to provide any single-sex spaces that exclude our trans siblings. We want to make it clear so that our reps know employers do not have to follow that interim guidance, which has been roundly challenged. Congress, please support Emergency Motion 5 with the qualification I've set out. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Does GMB Scotland accept the qualification? Thank you. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour of Emergency Motion 5, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. CC are supporting Emergency Motion 6. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's also carried. Could I have the mover of Motion 274, please?
Congress, Madam President. Adrian Storr, London Region, move a motion 274, saying no to pay-as-you-go miles tax. Congress, I speak to you with a concern that could resonate deeply to the working class of today. The idea of pay-as-you-go miles road tax by the government. Congress, this not only threatens our wallets, but also the very fabric of our daily lives. At its core, this tax is a direct assault on the freedoms that we as citizens have taken for granted. The idea that our government would impose a charge based on the number of miles we drive is not just an inconvenience, it's an infringement on our personal liberty and the right to travel. We live in a nation where mobility is essential, where the ability to travel freely for work, education, leisure, which is our fundamental right. To tax us for every miles travelled is to penalise our very existence. Consider the implications of the tax on our everyday lives. Vital services bear the brunt of this policy. A family living outside of a town or village where they are shut off from public transport, already struggling with the rising costs of living of today as we know it. This would be a further burden on our extra expenses. Is this the kind of controlled society we want to create? A society where it becomes a privilege only to those who can afford it? Not only the ramifications of this proposed taxes, small businesses, which are the backbone of our economy, depend on the transport to deliver goods and services. This idea of pay-as-you-go miles tax will inevitably lead to increased costs for businesses, which will in turn be passed on to the consumers. We are already grappling with the impacts of inflation, rising costs. Do we really want to add a financial strain to families and businesses alike? And what about the environment? The argument of the environment. We have constantly struggled to fix potholes. Congress. While it is crucial that we pursue sustainable practices and reduce our carbon footprint, imposing a mileage tax is not the solution. Instead, penalising drivers, we should be investing in public transport, electric vehicles, infrastructure, and greener alternatives, friendly choices without financial hardship. We need innovative solutions that encourage reduced emissions without compromising our mobility and economic stability. Furthermore, this tax raises significant concerns that privacy and surveillance, tracking the miles we drive means tracking our movements, an unsettling reality in an age where personal data is constantly under threat. Is this really a system that we want? Congress, please support this motion. Say no to road pricing. I move.
Thank you, Adrian. Seconder.
Thank you. President Congress, I'm Peter O'Connell from London Region. In a branch containing thousands of minicab and taxi drivers, on first sight, motion 274 would deny a new stream of income to local government, which, as every delegate knows, has had its funding starved during the Tory years. And although Rachel Reeves said she rejects austerity, the squeeze on council services does continue. Of course, travel has never been free. Drivers spend money on fuel and car maintenance and time sitting in traffic. But we're asking you to support motion 274 because, frankly, there is a Conservative trap accusing our party and movement of planning to tax car drivers per mile. Actually, the Labour government and Labour mayors have ruled out road pricing because it could stall the switch to electric vehicles. The Tories and Reform UK are, as usual, lying, when actually we now have the biggest ever investment by a British government in transport upgrades between cities. That is why I am seconding motion 274. No to pay per mile, yes to more investment. And let me wish everyone here a safe and pleasant journey home. From a GMB Congress that's been friendly and a terrific learning experience for us reps to make work better.
Thank you, Peter. Mover of motion 276.
Hello, everyone. Got some bit of paperwork here, sorry. President Congress, Linda Mercer, moving motion 278. Graham fell down a pothole. What are his rights? Now, some of you will have seen Graham this week. He's a big chap with a walking stick. And unfortunately, today, he's had to go for some more tests to do with his injury that he got falling into a pothole. Graham is a waste service driver. He was getting out of his wagon and hit a pothole and went flying on his back. And he'd got some injuries from that and was off work for quite some time. I came round with my magic wand and I said, would you like to take over from me, Graham? You can be the branch secretary, which he has done. The state of our roads these days is not just a health and safety hazard for drivers, it's an health and safety hazard for all of us. And what we're asking for is that you can support the union by helping to get the government to do some work on these potholes, because the money that they give to your local authorities isn't enough. And the amount of staff that we've got now, as in Tameside, we've gone from nearly 8,000 members of staff down to 2,500 members of staff. So you can imagine there's not enough staff to go and check all the roads and for potholes. There's no money to build the potholes. And they'll only go and do it if it's been reported and is of the right depth and the right length to be able to repair it. So if it's just a small hole, it doesn't matter, even though they know that small hole will in a few weeks' time get bigger. So you get the idea, yeah? And so that is what we need. I'm reading Graham's notes and I've made a few of my own. So, one manager in engineers can carry plan assessments to check of the major incidents of potholes and assess them to see whether it's the right thing to do to repair them. It seems a bit strange when somebody's put in a claim against the council because they've fallen down a pothole. So 14 years of conservative austerity is now coming home to roost and is affecting each and every one of us. Austerity has now become home to roost. What needs to be a comprehensive rethink of how to maintain our roads and the networks of our roads. We should be the envy of the world. Please support this motion. I thank you all.
Well done, Linda. Well done for stepping up at the last minute. And seconder.
President Congress, Mickey Brady, North Western Irish Region, seconding motion 276. Across the country, our roads are in a shocking state of disrepair, which affects all of us. For too long, workers, especially those in essential roles such as bus drivers, delivery drivers, care workers and refuse collectors, have had to risk injury, damage to their vehicles and disruption to their working day because the local infrastructure has been neglected. This is not just a matter of inconvenience, it's a matter of health and safety. Our members deserve to work in safe conditions, whether on the factory floor or behind the wheel. A lot of people do not know who they need to contact to report the potholes and the necessity to collect evidence of the potholes and damage to their vehicles or any injuries to themselves. I urge Congress to support this motion and stand up for safe road conditions for all. I second.
Thank you, Michael. Mover of motion 277.
Madam President, Congress, Anthony Brown, Midland Region, moving 277. Thanks. I'd like to start by thanking the CEC for supporting this motion, albeit with qualifications. The CEC's qualifications that the nationalisation should be shaped and led by local and regional public authorities. We agree completely with that. We're not calling for everything to be controlled from Westminster. We're calling for real power to be given to local communities who know and rely on these services. This motion is about making sure light rail and the tram systems are not left behind. Labour are rightly committed in bringing heavy rail back into the public ownership, but what about trams and the light rail system? They remain stuck in a fragmented mess of private contracts. Yet these systems are vital. They're clean, efficient, and used by millions daily to go to school, work, and hospitals. They cut congestion, lower emissions, and drive local economies. So why are they not part of the nationalisation plan? We have systems like Blackpool, Edinburgh, and now Sheffield are all publicly owned and locally run. We're not asking for a one-size-fits-all. We want local leadership, fair funding, and real accountability. We need a joined-up public transport system where buses, trains, and trams work together with fair prices and public control. Workers must be the heart of this. Public ownership must protect jobs, terms and conditions, and the right to organise. This is more about transport. It's about fairness, climate action, and giving workers a say in the public service. If we exclude trams and light rail, we entrench ourselves in a two-tier system that's both unfair and short-sighted. So thanks again for the CEC for supporting this, but let's make sure no one is left behind, not the passengers, not the workers, and not the networks that keep our cities moving. I move.
Thank you, Anthony. Seconder.
Good morning, Congress. I do apologise. I just gave myself palpitations. I thought I had my shopping list instead of the speech. When I just saw £1.70, I thought, oh God. Ash Hussain from the Midlands region. I'm seconding this motion on the basis that our light rail systems, from the Tyne and Wear Metro to Manchester Metro Link and Nottingham Express trams, are the veins that keep our cities moving. But right now, those veins are being squeezed by private operators who put profit before people. These are public services run for private gain, and it's working families, our members, who pay the price through rising fares, unreliable service, and poor investment. Nationalisation is not a radical idea, it's a rational necessity. Public ownership would mean reinvesting profits into improving services, not shareholder dividends. It would allow for fairer wages, safer working conditions, and stronger local accountability. Now, it would be run for public good, not private greed. Look at the East Coast Main Line when it was publicly run. It delivered record passenger satisfaction and returned millions to the Treasury. We can do the same for light rail. We must do the same. Transport is not just merely going from A to B. It's about connecting communities, growing local economies, and tackling the climate change. If the government is serious about levelling up and going green, nationalising light rail is a no-brainer. So therefore, Congress, please, I urge you to be bold, send a clear message to our public transport, clear message that our public transport should be in public hands. I urge you to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Ash. Mover of motion 279.
President, Congress, comrades, Cathy Cattell, Southern Region, moving on motion 279. Thank you. The national bus fare cap introduced across the UK has been widely welcomed for making long-distance travel more affordable. However, this well-intentioned policy has inadvertently penalised short-distance travellers, many of whom are low-paid workers, students and elderly residents, by increasing the cost of local journeys that previously cost less than the capped fare. While the capped fare has reduced costs for longer routes, it has simultaneously increased fares for short journeys, some of which have more than doubled in price. For example, a previous journey that cost £1.30 now costs £3 under the cap. This represents a massive 131% price increase, disproportionately affecting those who rely on buses for short essential trips. This shift undermines the original purpose of the cap, to make public transport more accessible and affordable for all, and instead places an undue burden on those least able to afford it. Low-income workers who commute locally are now paying more for essential travel. Elderly and disabled passengers who make short trips for healthcare or shopping are affected. Students and young people face increased costs for school and college commutes. Local economies may suffer as residents reduce travel due to higher costs. We propose the following amendments to the fare cap policy. Number 1, introduce a tiered fare cap system. So, cap fares based on distance or travel zones. Under 2 miles, £1.50, 2 to 5 miles, £2, and over 5 miles, £3. Number 2, protect legacy fares, so ensure no journey costs more under the cap than it did prior to its introduction. And number 3, implement a local travel subsidy, so offer additional discounts or travel passes for low-income workers and frequent short-distance travellers. So in conclusion, the current flat fare cap, while beneficial in some contexts, is not really fit for purpose for short-distance travel. Without reform, it risks exacerbating inequality and undermining public trust in transport policy. We urge Congress and relevant transport authorities to support this motion and implement a more equitable fare structure that truly serves all members of our community. I move.
Thank you, Cathy. Seconder? And can I have movers and seconders for 138, 139 and Composite 8, please?
Good morning, President and Congress. I'm from Southern Region. I'm a first-time delegate and speaker, so please bear with me. Right, thank you. Bus fare capping was introduced with the right intentions to make travel more affordable and accessible. And for many long-distance commuters, it's worked. But let's be honest, this system is failing those who make short local trips. Journeys that used to cost £1.50 or even less are now capped at a flat rate £3 fare. That's not a saving, that's a price hike. It's doubling, sometimes tripling, the cost for those taking the bus for a few stops. Who are these people? They're not tourists or long-distance travellers. They're the cleaners, carers, shop workers, students, and parents during the school run. They're people living and working in the same community, many on low incomes, often without cars, now being punished for the crime of living nearby. And who's benefiting? Bus operators. Their profits have risen, while those who rely on the public transport the most are left worse off. That's not a policy that supports equality. That's a policy that quietly shifts the burden to those least able to carry it. So let's be clear. No one should pay more for a journey under a cap. The fare capping system must be fair for all journeys, long or short. A more flexible, distance-based or zone-based approach must be implemented to ensure the poorest aren't left subsidising everyone else. This motion is not anti-capping. It's pro-fairness. Congress, please support this motion and let's stop the inequalities in bus fare capping. Thank you, Congress. I second.
Well done, Asha. It's hard having to wait until the last day to make your first speech. Well done. Well done. Does anybody want to speak in opposition to any of those motions? No, then can I ask the CEC Speaker, Kamran Ali, to reply?
President Congress, Kamran Ali, North Western Irish Region, speaking on behalf of the CEC in response to the motion 276 and 277. Motion 276 calls for faster repairs and simpler compensation when created roads wreck vehicles or injure road users. The CEC agrees in principle years of austerity have hollowed out highways budgets and left our members, many of whom keep those roads safe, struggling with consequences. Our qualification is one of leverage and timing. The government has already earmarked £1.6 billion for the road maintenance in England, the biggest single injection councils have ever received, and we will press for comparable funding in the devolved nations. If that money reaches the front line quickly, the legal changes envisaged in the motion may prove unnecessary. Moreover, clear guidance on claiming compensation is already freely online. Mounting a separate GMB awareness campaign would consume resources we could deploy elsewhere. For those reasons, the CEC supports motion 276 with the qualification that we focus on ensuring the promised funding is delivered and monitored rather than duplicating existing advice services and seeking legislation that new investment may render redundant. Motion 277 urges that trams and light rail systems be folded into publicly owned integrated transport network, as this existing union policy set by Composite 7 in 2015 already backs the goal, and the CEC continues to believe these systems belong in public hands alongside rail and buses. Our qualification concerns governance because trams and light rail are local by nature. They should be operated by relevant city or regional public authorities, as several already are. Any national campaign must be led by workers and unions active in the sector to ensure that local knowledge and industrial realities guide the final model. With the safeguard, we support motion 277 and stand ready to work with sector activists to win public ownership that genuinely serves passengers and staff alike. In summary, the Congress, please support both motion 276 and 277 with qualifications I have outlined.
Thank you, Kamran. Does North Western Irish accept the qualification for motion 276? Thank you. And Midlands, do you accept the qualification for 277? Thank you. I'll put the motion 274 and 279 are being both supported by the CEC, so I'll put those to the vote. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? They're both carried. All those in favour of motion 276, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. And all those in favour of motion 277, please show. Thank you. That's also carried. We now move on to the mover of motion 138, please, which is continuing with the private section motions.
President, Congress, Ali Hazardous, Southern Region. Moving motion 138, bring back time and distance for fair pay. Congress, as an ethnically diverse person, back in 2003, I got my first private hire licence in this city. Brighton Council set clear rates that all operators had to follow. It was based on a meter, calculated by time and distance. It was simple. It was transparent. The riders knew what they were paying, and the drivers knew what they were earning on each trip. Congress, fast forward to 2025. The system, the meter, is no longer used by most app-based firms. Instead, they use algorithms and so-called dynamic pricing. They hide behind AI with no proper explanation or breakdown of each trip. Congress, drivers no longer know or understand how the fares are really calculated. There is no consistency, no transparency, and no way to challenge errors. Because there is no pricing guide, nothing our members can rely on, just left with guesswork. Congress, our members are tired of playing app-based auctions just to earn a living. Tired of unfair pricing models designed to benefit companies and shareholders. Our members want change. They want these dynamic pricing gone. This motion does exactly that. Congress, this motion is very clear. Bring back time and distance. The old-style, tried and tested pricing structure. A system that pays our members fairly for every mile driven and every minute worked. Congress, let's support this motion. Let's restore fairness. Let's bring back time and distance, because work must pay. I move.
Thank you, Ali. Seconder.
President, Congress, Karina Smith, Southern Region. Seconding motion 138, bringing back time and distance for fair pay. Congress, why is it that for every so-called progress, it's always us, the workers, that are at a disadvantage? Not just our terms and conditions, but our actual existence. At this stage in our history, we are experiencing a moment just like the Victorians did, transitioning from horses to steam. The digital age is galloping at a unprecedented speed, and as a union, we must take the introduction of AI extremely seriously for our members. A progress for millionaire app owners should never be at the expense of the very people that provide those millionaires owners with their profits. We understand that the digital age is the here, but we need to have a system that benefits everyone, especially for the drivers that are the very heart of the business model and producing the very profit for said owners. There have been too many examples of errors without a driver being able to see with transparency what occurred to make sure their wage is secured. Bringing back time and distance would benefit everyone in the chain, from owner, driver and consumer, and completely negate these anomalies. It makes perfect sense to do so, and the only reticence is from the multi-millionaire owners that directly benefit from this status quo. Please support this motion. I second.
Well done, Karina. Thank you. Mover of motion 139.
Lisa Edwards, Southern Region, first time delegate, third time speaker. Good morning, Congress. Good morning, President. Good morning, comrades. I rise to speak in support of motion 139. No blame, pay the time. Let me start by saying I had to support this motion as I felt so passionate about it. I did not hesitate to move it and stand before you here today. This is another personal, heartfelt topic. My brother is a taxi driver. This is his livelihood, his daily bread and butter, as us Scousers would say. Let me ask, how many of us in the room use taxis or private services? I guess most of you, at some point. Yet the people behind the wheel, our taxi, our private hire drivers, can be taken off instantly by a press of a button and you're deactivated, often based on false or unproven allegations, usually through an app by someone trying to game the system. There are countless examples, CCTV footage clearly showing drivers did nothing wrong. And still, no warning, no chance to explain, and worst of all, no income. For these drivers being taken off, it's just an inconvenience. It's not just an inconvenience. It means not being able to pay the bills. It means choosing food or fuel. It means telling your partners, your families, even your children, not this week, love. I'm still waiting to hear if I can go back to work. The impact doesn't stop at the driver. Their families suffer too. Their partners, their children, their entire household, left in limbo while somebody somewhere investigates a claim that may not be true. And then they're cleared, they just told, you can go and log back in now. No apology, no compensation, no recognition of the stress, the disruption, the dignity loss, or the financial hardship they endure. This is not justice. This is not good enough. The motion calls for 3 essential protections: a fair and a transparent investigation process for any allegation, compensation for loss of earnings if the drivers are found not at fault, clear and consistent operation policies to prevent the harm caused by false or malicious allegations or claims. Congress, drivers deserve better. If they've done nothing wrong, they should not be the ones paying the price, and neither should their families. No blame, they paid the time. I urge you to support this motion and stand with the drivers who can keep our communities moving. I move this motion. Thank you, Congress. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Lisa, and good luck in your new role. Thank you. Seconder.
President, Congress, and my gallant reps. Sylvester Ije, President G50, Southern Region, the winning region. Yeah, I stand here this morning rather not happy because how can you take a person off from his work for an allegation that has not been looked at, then you don't pay that person? How does that person exist? I consider this to be ridiculous and suicidal. Because take a look at it. Even the money they pay them is not even sufficient. More so that even that small money is not being paid when they are taking off. And the way they are taking off is like they just press a switch and they are offline. I'm here to second what my colleague has said and to let us know the miseries our members face with this their action. That is why it's important. I'm urging the Congress to take action, and that action should be now. Congress, let's be clear that our drivers devise something better. Congress, I support this motion, and I urge you to support it too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sylvester. Well done. Mover of Composite 8, please.
President, Congress, Ali Haydos, Southern Region. Moving Composite Motion 8, cap private hire vehicles in the UK. Congress, the uncontrolled growth of private hire vehicles has created a flooded market, driving down earnings, allowing operators to benefit unfairly at the expense of our members. Congress, we're urging the government to amend the law to give local authorities the power to cap number of private hire vehicles operating in their areas. Congress giving local council this power will protect drivers' earnings, allow local authorities to manage the trade based on local needs, create a fairer balance between operators and drivers, protect the industry for the future, protect the industry for the many, not for the few. Congress, our members deserve a fair chance to earn a decent living. Customers deserve safe and reliable services, and local authorities need the tools to manage the trade effectively in the interests of all. Congress, please support this motion. Time has come to remove the unlimited fuel that powers the operators. It's time to put powers back in the hands of our members, and it's time to make private hire great again. I move.
Thank you, Ali. Seconder.
President, Congress, Steve Shiner, Private Hire Drivers Representative, P42, Drivers Branch, Midlands Region, and first-time delegate, second-time speaker, so hopefully I'm a little less nervous this time. Congress, all across the Midlands region, GMB members who work as private hire drivers are being pushed to breaking point. The increase in dominance of app-based operators such as Bolt and Uber means that we as private hire drivers have no choice but to use these platforms if we want to. In England, we've got 381,000 drivers. Just think of that. 27,000 are licensed by Wolverhampton. 27,000 vehicles in the Midlands region. These global operators are able to keep their fares low by bringing in more and more drivers. England, we've got 381,000 self-employed drivers. I'm often left as a private hire driver waiting hours for a job, competing with other drivers and having to accept a low-pay trip. Drivers' costs include fuel, vehicles insurance, much, much more. All of the financial risks are taken by those drivers, whilst the company's profit is bigger and bigger. The rates of pay for each trip that I take are calculated by algorithms and special formulas, which drivers have no idea. Congress, I struggle to think that the industry in UK is going to get any better. We need your support. I second this motion.
Thank you, Stephen. And Speaker from North Western Irish Region.
You've missed me this week, haven't you?
I have, Kevin, I have.
Conference, Kevin Flanagan from the beautiful North Western Irish region, speaking in support of Motion 8. Brothers and sisters, you've heard of Bolton Wanderers. Well, I tell you what, we've got Wolverhampton Wanderers all over the place, I tell you. The deregulation of the industry has been the worst thing that has happened for the benefits and for the needs of our members up and down this country. We have 49% of the private hire drivers operating across Greater Manchester are from outside the area. This is no good for the trade, it's no good for passengers, it's no good for the industry, and it doesn't help local authority when it comes down to licensing and controlling the trade that is operating in their area. The money that is being raised from those licenses is being held by other authorities who can be hundreds of miles away from where they are actually operating. Let's be clear, I'm not trying to set driver against driver, but we really need to get a grip. I applaud my colleague Habib in North West and my other colleagues who have worked with us. We've met virtually every single council to raise this issue, and now we have the Mayor of Manchester, Andy Burnham, who we've met a couple of times now, who has just finished a 12-week consultation on the needs of the trade. Thank you, Andy. I ask your mayors in your areas to do the same. He is on our agenda. We want new legislation passing to reverse what happened when they deregulated the trade in order to give people a livelihood and a way to actually earn a living. What's the point of being sat in a rank if you can't earn a living? It's disgraceful. They can't even pay the bills for their own vehicles and for the charges by the operators, let alone feed the kids. This madness has to stop, and we have to get new legislation to enable us to do that. Colleagues, lobby your MPs. Get out there. Let's win this campaign because it's an important campaign for our members. Safety, security are very important. At the end of the day, our drivers want a few things that most of us want. They want to go to work, to be valued, to be affirmed in what they do, to earn a reasonable living, and to be respected. You've seen and I've seen the pressures they face. Sadly, last summer, a number of their vehicles were damaged and drivers were attacked. We're not accepting that, and we will never accept that from us in this GMB or for us. They know we are the union for private hire and hackney drivers. My branch is a branch that has a lot of the Uber, hackney carriage and other drivers in it. It is important that we're seen to be active and we're seen to win one of the most important pieces of legislation that we need to protect their lives and their livelihoods. This is where the GMB is great, brothers and sisters. This is where we make real change for people's lives. It is time that we actually made sure the legislation is there. Congress, and by the way, those operators who are not acting fairly on the fares and the industries.
Wind up, please.
I see the meters running out. Thank you very much, sisters. Support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Any delegate wish to speak in opposition to this motion? Any of these motions? No. In that case, can I ask CC Speaker Deanne Burke to come to the rostrum, please? And can I have movers of 144, 145, 146 and seconders to the front, please?
Good morning, President. Morning, Congress. It's Diane Burke, North East Yorkshire and Humber Region, speaking on behalf of the CEC in response to Composite 8. The CEC supports Composite 8 with qualification. The Composite seeks to address what many members see as an oversaturated licensing regime. The CEC is ready to back this so we can develop detailed proposals, national standards, license caps and or alternative regulatory tools together with the relevant sector memberships. Our qualification is simply that any cap of licences could have overseen consequences for drivers' livelihoods and passenger service. Those potential knock-ons must be fully assessed in consultation with members before a final position is adopted. With that qualification, we are happy to support Composite 8. To summarise, the CEC is asking Congress to support Composite 8 with the stated qualification. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanne. Does Southern, Midlands and North Western Irish region accept that qualification? Yes? Okay, so CC are supporting both motion 138 and motion 139, so I'll take those as one. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? They're carried. Composite 8 with the qualification. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. Could I have the mover of motion 144, please?
Congress President, good morning. Alison Gentry, London Region, moving motion 144. This Congress, in the light of increasing incidents involving hazardous materials in the courier industry, this motion seeks to enhance safety regulations and protect couriers from harm. We call on Congress to work with the EHRC and the courier industry on the following. Hazardous parcels. Establish clear guidelines for the identification and handling of hazardous materials to ensure the safety of the couriers and the public. Prohibited items. Implement a comprehensive list of prohibited items that cannot be transported by couriers with strict penalties for violations. Restricted deliveries. Enforce regulations that limit couriers from delivering parcels that are classified as restricted or hazardous without proper training or equipment. Spillages in courier vehicles. Mandate the inclusion of spill containment measures and proper training for couriers to handle potential spillages safely. Batteries leaking acid. Develop specific protocols for the transportation of batteries and other hazardous materials prone to leaks, including proper packaging and correct labelling. Injury prevention. Ensure that couriers are protected under worker compensation laws, especially in cases where injuries occur through no fault of their own. We call for immediate action to implement these measures, ensuring the safety of couriers and the integrity of the transportation system. By addressing these concerns, we can foster a safer working environment and protect our couriers and public health. I move.
Thank you, Alison. Second it.
Vice President, Congress, Anne Ralph, London Region. Seconding motion 144, Safety and Regulations in Courier Services. First time delegate, first time speaker. The safety of all workers is paramount importance to the GMB. These days, there are many more packages being sent and delivered through the courier network. Most of these have not been labelled correctly. Our courier members are expected to handle different kinds of packages properly to prevent damage while in transit and ensure they remain safe at all times. How can they do this if they themselves do not know what is inside? They should be thoroughly trained in all safety procedures, including that in the event of any accident or emergency. Regulations need to be in place to protect the couriers, especially in cases where injuries occur without fault of their own. Courier drivers are unknowingly transporting hazardous parcels and can suffer injuries as a result of this. Handling spills or exposing dangerous substances can cause cuts, severe burns, respiratory problems, or even long-term health conditions, depending on the nature of the hazardous material. Some of these vans can literally be ticking time bombs. Let's get them the training they deserve. Please support this motion. I second.
Thank you, Anne. Mover 145.
Dangerous, President, Congress, I'm Jason Follow, Weldon South West Region, moving motion 145, dangerous hazardous goods within the courier network. Congress, every day, thousands of self-employed couriers, our members, our colleagues, our friends, set out on the roads, trusting that parcels they carry are safe, properly labelled and compliant within the law. But the truth is, that trust is being betrayed. Courier companies and their clients are sending volatile substances, chemicals, flammable liquids, acid, even compressed gases through our networks without proper labelling, without adequate packaging, and without a second thought of the people who carry them. This is not just a breach of COSH regulations, it's a breach of basic human decency and workplace safety. Let's be clear, when hazardous goods are not clearly marked, When they are not securely packed, it's the courier who pays the price. A leaking chemical can cause burns, poisoning, or trigger a chemical reaction in the back of the car or van. A mislabeled parcel can turn a routine delivery into a life-threatening emergency. And when the worst happens, insurance companies can and will refuse to pay out because a courier in good faith declared that they do not carry hazardous goods. This is not just theatrical. We have seen time and time again the devastation caused when hazardous materials are mishandled. From the tragic explosions in Beirut and Tianjin to the countless smaller incidents that never make the headlines, the lesson is clear. Misdeclared, mismanaged, dangerous goods are a ticking time bomb. Congress, we cannot allow our members to be put at risk for the sake of corporate convenience or profit. We demand action. We call on GMB to lobby MPs and Parliament to hold these companies accountable, to enforce the rules that already exist, and to ensure that no courier is forced to gamble with their health, their livelihood or their life. Let's stand together for safety, for dignity and for justice for our courier networks. I support this motion.
Thank you, Jason. Second it. Thank you. Mover of 146, please.
President, Congress, George Sharkey from the big and inclusive London region. Moving motion 146. Congress finishing at 7:30 per night going forward. Well, that got your attention. Actually, it's regarding the regulated and licensed business, commercial cycles and e-scooters. Colleagues, we are seeing a transport revolution unfolding on our streets. E-scooters, commercial bikes, cargo bikes and rickshaws are now commonplace in cities across the UK. Delivery drivers zigzag through traffic, rickshaws entertain tourists and e-scooters riders whiz around along our pavements. But with this growing presence comes growing concern about safety, regulation and responsibility. Let me be clear, this motion is not about pushing back innovation or progress. It's about ensuring that progress doesn't come at the cost of public safety, workers' rights or road users' lives. Under current UK law, private e-scooters remain illegal on public roads, while rental e-scooters are legal only in trial areas and must meet strict requirements, but enforcement is patchy. Meanwhile, business-use cycles and rickshaws, many operating for profit, are largely unregulated, with no standard for training, no licences and no accountability when things go wrong. According to Department of Transport figures, e-scooter-related casualties increased by nearly 24% between 22 and 23, and that's just reported cases. The number of serious injuries is growing year on year, including among pedestrians, cyclists and vulnerable road users. Unregulated commercial cycles, often heavily loaded, oversized or ridden on pavements, are now involved in a rising number of urban collisions. What we're asking for is simple and sensible. Mandatory licence for business using these vehicles, clear safety standards for vehicle maintenance, training and accountability for riders operating commercially, and local authorities to have power to regulate numbers and zones of use as they do with taxis or buses. Colleagues, this is a workplace issue. Many of the workers using these vehicles are gig workers, underpaid, uninsured and under pressure to deliver faster with little concern for their well-being. By regulating these modes of transport, we ensure better health and safety protection for these workers too. We must not wait for people to be hurt before action is taken. We must not let streets turn into free-for-alls when responsibility is absent. Licence and regulations do not hinder progress, they shape it safely. We call on GMB to lobby government to push for reform and to make the case that sustainable transport must be safe, fair and properly managed. Let's help make our cities safer, our roads more organised and our transport future more responsible. Please support this motion.
Thank you, George. Second it.
It's still morning, so good morning, President, Conference, and comrades. Motion 146, regulated and licensed business. E-bikes are a fun way to explore the capital. That's London, for anyone that doesn't know, the capital in England. The e-bike pedal assist gives you the potential to explore more of London without exerting more energy. Plus, you'll be fresher when you arrive at your destination compared to using a traditional push bike. However, cycles and e-scooters are often left in inappropriate places, in some instances just flung to the ground, creating an issue for the disabled or parents with pushchairs. This must be part of the regulations with relevant authorities holding full details of the hirer should the e-bike or e-scooter be left in a dangerous position. All riders must adhere to clear guidelines, such as when signing up, they at least have an understanding of cycle roadcraft on their public highways and adhere to the highway code at all times. E-bikes should be tracked by the corporate owner, similar to car rental businesses, with rider behaviour monitored, with repeat abusers banned from using them in worst-case scenarios. All equipment needs under regulation by the supplier to include evidence that the cycle or e-scooters are well maintained with a provable service record to help with safety, brake failure or faulty batteries that could lead to dangerous consequences for the user or members of the public. There should be a minimum age requirement, a restriction of speed limits of no more than 15 or 20 miles an hour or 20 mph. Any higher will actually mean the e-bike is actually classed as a motor vehicle and require the same rules and regs as any other motorised vehicle. They should not e-bikes.
Can you wind up now, please, Simon?
Thank you. Wrapping up. None of us in the conference hall want to prevent sustainable transport, but we must ensure they're correctly regulated for the safety of us all. Thank you, conference. Please back this motion.
Thank you, Simon. Anyone wish to speak in opposition? No. I'll now call on Kevin Buchanan on behalf of the CEC, and could movers and seconders of 229, 231 and 232 come to the front, please.
President Congress, Kevin Buchanan, GMB Scotland, speaking on behalf of the CEC in response to motions 144, 145 and 146. On 144, the CEC backs the core demands for stronger protections, but delivering that goal will require a sizable piece of cross-sector work. We need engagement not only with government, but also with the GMB Private Services Section Committee and industry stakeholders. For that reason, we support the motion with the qualification that a detailed work plan covering consultation, evidence gathering and legislative options must be developed before we launch the campaign. Motion 145 focuses on a specific but equally urgent risk. The Union is already tackling this issue with the in cooperation with EVRI and in dialogue with the DVLA, the Health and Safety Executive and insurers. We are happy to widen that effort to explore any necessary political or legislative asks. Accordingly, the CEC supports the motion with the qualification that our ongoing multi-agency work will shape the final demands that we place on government. Finally, on motion 146, the motion raises questions about whether new licensing rules will help or hinder our courier members. The CEC believes that we need more evidence before taking a firm position. We therefore ask London Region to refer this motion so that we can assess its potential impact on members' livelihoods and safety. In summary, Congress, the CEC asks Congress to support motions 144 and 145 with those qualifications and ask London Region to agree to refer 146 for further study. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Does London accept the qualification of 144? Thank you. Does Wales South West accept the qualification on 145? Thank you. And does London agree to reference back on 146? Thank you. We'll now move to the vote. All those favouring 144, please show. Any against? That's carried. All those in favour of 145, please show. Any against? That's carried. Could the mover of 229 please come to the rostrum?
Morning, everybody. President Congress, Sharon Yates, Stoke Unity, S75 branch, Midlands region. Moving motion 229, the pottery industry. Just like to thank everybody for signing the pledge for us as well. That means a lot. It means a great deal. Stoke-on-Trent is still the world centre for ceramic industry, famously known as the potteries. I'm here today to ask the question, if we are so famous throughout the world, then why aren't our own country and our own central government having our beloved ceramics within their parliament offices? But mostly have foreign pottery, even cheap imports known as China dumping. This is also happening in local government offices, TUC offices and other unions, including our own GMB regions and national offices. I can't keep standing here asking for help if our own government, TUC and unions aren't listening or supporting our plea. So I'm asking you all to push with me and support our industry by campaigning to the government, TUC, all unions, to have our ceramics within their offices and to promote the importance to buy British ceramics. The pottery industry is in critical condition, and I've found out while I'm here, another historical factory is on the brink of closing if nothing is done. So please help us. Please. Please tell everybody, family, friends, flood social media with the sound of buying British ceramics. As an industry, we can't rely on the exports. We need to rebuild our own market, and I need your help, and we can do this together. Please support I Move. Buy British ceramics.
Thank you, Sharon. Seconder.
Barbie, I formally second.
Thank you. Mover of 231.
President, Congress, William McCluskey, GMB Scotland, second time delegate, first time speaker. Moving motion 231, fair treatment for football fans. I'm here to talk about something that affects not just our weekends, but our local economies and our communities, the antiquated ban on alcohol sales in football grounds in Scotland. For too long, Scottish football fans have been treated as second-class citizens. You can go to a rugby match, a concert or even a cinema and enjoy a beer. You can't walk into a pub right next to a football ground and have a drink. They step inside the stadium and suddenly they're deemed incapable of responsible behaviour. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's frankly an insult to the vast majority of law-abiding football supporters. This ban was brought in almost 45 years ago, a knee-jerk reaction to a very different area. It was brought to tackle hooliganism, a problem that, thanks to the concerted efforts of clubs, police and supporters groups, has largely been eradicated from our game. We've moved on, but this draconian law remains, a relic of the past, and serves no real purpose in the present. So what does it do? It pushes fans out of the stadium into pubs before the games, also the streets surrounding the stadiums. This creates its own problems. Away from the regulated environment of the ground, it starves the smaller clubs, many of whom are vital hubs in their communities, of crucial revenue that could be invested in youth development, ground improvements and making the matchday experience even better for everyone. Let's be clear, every penny that is not Every penny that is lost by our clubs is a penny not spent in our communities, not supporting local jobs. And let's not forget the workers, our GMB members in brewing, which I am a member, hospitality, catering and security, who would benefit from increased opportunities and fairer wages within the thriving matchday economy. Lifting this ban isn't just about a pint, it's about jobs, it's about local economies, and it's about treating workers with respect. The evidence is clear. In England, alcohol sales are allowed in the stadiums. The sky hasn't fallen in. Major tournaments hosted in Scotland have seen alcohol sales permitted with no widespread issues. This isn't about promoting excessive drinking. It's about normalising the matchday experience, allowing responsible adults to enjoy a drink in a safe, controlled environment. We believe in common sense, we believe in trust, and we believe in empowering our members and communities. That's why the GMB must throw its full weight behind this campaign to repeal this outdated ban. Let's lobby our MSPs, let's engage with the Scottish Government, let's make a case for change, not just for football fans, but for the economic well-being of our clubs and the communities they serve. Congress, it's time to bring Scottish football into the 21st century. It's time to repeal this ban. Let's stand together and get this done. Please support this motion.
Thank you, William. Seconder. Thank you. Mover 232.
Hello, everybody. Even though sometimes trouble pronounce English word, I really like standing here. I would like also to apologize John Wood to you for stealing your personality, your name and your surname, but it wasn't my fault. Okay. One more time, good morning, President, Congress, friends. Adam Wacławczyk, London Region, moving motion 232. Some council-run sports fields, halls, swimming pools and gyms located in the community or in the schools or the colleges. But the cost of using this is expensive. We are asking that all non-professional clubs training children and teenagers should have a 70% discount as well as priority for renting facilities managed and run by the council. For example, the cost of renting the entire pitch at Council Waltham Forest is £150. The council gives a discount, but only for entire pitch, which usually is not available, and of it which cost for quarter of the pitch is cost £80. Currently, some councils try to make money from these facilities, even from those in which external funds, government or lottery foundation funds were invested. The next thing is for the council to put these facilities under the management of private companies, contractors, whose priority is to make money and do not allow renting these facilities to children or young people. Clubs such as grassroots football try to attract as many young people as possible to keep them away from the street life, especially in London, where youth crime is increasing day by day. I believe that the future of the children and the young people is in our hands. Please support the motion.
Thank you, Adam. Seconder.
President, Congress, Adrian Łukasiewicz, London Region, Branch Secretary of P35, Peterborough Local Authority Branch. Thank you, John. I mean, Adam. Sorry. Congress, we all know what sport really means in our communities. It's not just about kicking a ball or lifting weights. It's about belonging. It's about giving young people a place to grow, to build confidence, to stay out of harm's way. It's about physical health, mental well-being, and social connection. But instead of investing in that, councils are turning public facilities into profit centres. Community pitches and leisure centres have been priced so high, ordinary working families simply can't afford it. And result, empty pitches, locked gates, and young people pushed out. Congress, this is disgrace. These facilities were built with public money. They should be serving the public, not sitting empty because private companies have outpriced the very people they're meant for. We don't need barriers. We need access. We need action. This motion calls for fairness. It calls for councils to make these spaces affordable. It calls for protection for youth clubs, grassroots teams, and low-income families. We want our kids on the pitch, not on the streets. Congress, this motion is asking for something simple and fair. Use our GMB networks, use our councillors, and push for reduced pricing. Please support this motion.
Thank you, Adrian. Anyone wish to speak in opposition? If not, can I call on Gordon Gibbs for the CC Speaker and ask for motion 131 and Composite 7 to come to the front, please.
Gordon Gibbs, first time CEC Speaker this year, because they wouldn't let me up here prior to the elections. But if I could, on a serious note, I'd like to personally congratulate Barbara on her re-election to National President, and I did so personally yesterday, and also sincerely congratulate Sonia on her election as our new Vice President. I look forward to working with both Barbara, Sonia and my CEC colleagues. No problem. I'll go to the script now. President Congress, Gordon Gibbs speaking on behalf of the CEC in response to motions 231 and 232, and a proud GMB member of the GMB, regardless of what region I come from. The CEC seeks to refer the motion of 231, the concerns raised, ticket pricing, fixture scheduling, policing costs and travel disruption are undoubtedly important to supporters. They also touch directly on workplaces where many of our Scottish members earn their living, hospitality venues, cleaning contractors, stewarding firms and local authority services tied to match days. Because of these employment interests are uniquely Scottish, the CEC believes the debate is best carried out inside Scotland. Scotland itself, where it can consult fully with the members most affected and shape a campaign that reflects their industrial realities. For this reason, we respectfully request referral of motions 231. Turning to motions 232, the CEC supports the motion with a clarification. We wholeheartedly support the principle that communities need low-cost, well-maintained pitches, pools and courts, and that local councils should keep them open. Our qualification relates to the motion's call for a nationwide council network to drive the campaign. In practice, only some regions currently have GMB councillors in sufficient numbers to lead such an initiative. Where that local political leverage exists, we should encourage regions to use it. Where it does not, regions need to pursue other tactics such as campaigning or bargaining with leisure management contractors. Regions should decide how and through whom they press the case for affordable facilities. In summary, Congress, we ask for GMB Scotland to agree to refer motions 231, ask Congress to support motion 232 with the qualification as stated. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Does Scotland agree to reference back on 231? Thank you. Does London agree? On, qualification on 232. Thank you. We'll go to the vote now. All those in favour of 229, please show. Any against? That's carried. All those in favour of 232, please show. All those against? That's carried. Can I move on 131 to the rostrum, please?
Congress, Lavisa Iqbal, Amazon Workers Branch, Midlands Region, moving the motion 131, first-time delegate, first-time speaker. Congress, right now, in workplaces that aren't recognised, union activists have very little legal protection. As a GMB activist myself, who's worked in hostile anti-union environments, I know firsthand the issues this brings. This motion is about challenging that and ensuring that workers in the UK have the right to join and support a union without any potential threats. This is something that the European Convention on Human Rights say that we should have, and it brings up the question on why we don't have it yet. If union activists aren't protected, workplace managers will exploit this and use it to their advantage to tear us down. This has happened to me personally, and it's happened to many other representatives within Amazon. The management monitor every single step that a union activist takes. They monitor who we talk to, when we talk to them, and what we say. Not only does this create a sense of fear within activists, but it also stops non-union members from wanting to learn more or join the union. At Amazon, they've created a new disciplinary offence of soliciting, which basically means that they try to punish us for talking about the union to our co-workers. So essentially, they punish us if we challenge a manager who lies about the union. They punish us if we ask people to sign a collective grievance. And they can punish us if we ask our co-workers to speak up about a health and safety concern they might have. Now, the law that's supposed to protect us from this is Section 146 of the Trade Union and Labour Relations Act of 1992. However, recently the Supreme Court said that this law doesn't match up with Article 11 of the European Convention of Human Rights, which says everyone has the right for peaceful assembly, the right to form or join trade unions, and the right to protect their own interests, which is different to Section 146, which says that a worker has the right not to be targeted, penalised, or dismissed for taking part in union action, which on paper sounds great, but in reality, this law only offers protection for union activities only if those activities happen at an appropriate time. And what's an appropriate time? Well, according to the law, it means either outside of work hours or during work, but only if the employer gives permission. So essentially, we can only talk about union things at work if the boss says it's okay. That's not real freedom. That's not real protection. So the government must agree and realise that Section 146 doesn't offer a strong protection. We need a change in the law so that we're free to speak to our co-workers about the GMB, so that we're free to speak about the campaign, and so that we're free to talk about our rights without the fear of punishment. Nothing less is acceptable. Congress, I move.
Thank you, colleague. Seconder.
President, Congress, Ashley Hughes, first-time speaker, first-time delegate. I'd like to second this motion 131 protection for union representatives in unrecognised workplaces. Congress notes that many individuals in this room have served or are currently serving as trade union representatives in their workplaces. I'd like to put you in the shoes of union representatives in unrecognised workplaces for a moment. These representatives often face significant challenges, including the lack of allocated time and protection to effectively carry out their roles. This situation leads to numerous late nights spent preparing for investigations, disciplinary actions and sickness reviews, while their counterparts, the management, have the advantage for preparing during their working hours. Furthermore, the health and safety aspect of this role is critically important. Without proper recognition and support investigating incidents and collating workers' feedback on safety concerns must be completed outside of working hours, adding to the burden of these representatives. Congress, without these protections, these dedicated individuals are placed in the position of modern-day toll puddle martyrs. And that can't be right. Therefore, Congress strongly urges for support of this motion to ensure employers must provide designated time during working hours for trade union representatives to perform their duties, ensuring they are not forced to work late into the night. Congress, I urge you to support this motion for protecting union workers in unrecognised workplaces. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Mover of Composite 7.
Congress. Lavisa Iqbal, Amazon Branch, Midlands Region, moving motion 153, Composite G. AI is a tool used by Amazon to create a dog-eat-dog environment. This is how it works. Everything you do from the moment you enter the building is monitored. Every job, every movement, every pause is measured, clocked, and recorded. In fact, the French government recently fined Amazon €32 million for using a monitoring system that was intrusive and unfair. The AI in Amazon is used to collect data from the scanners we use, which then allows Amazon to compare each worker against every other worker. They do this to set us up in competition against each other. They do this to make us work like animals, to achieve a target that's almost unachievable. The daily targets that they set can't be easily met, and so the people with the lowest pick rates are singled out and given a warning, which are also known as adapts. Now, the reason why these adapts are bad is because they create a lot of fear amongst the workers. It forces people into a race against each other so that they can stay out of the bottom group. In fact, people will even go in half an hour early just to bag the best workstations. Amazon doesn't explain to their workers how this monitoring system works. Most of us don't even realize how closely we're being watched until we're suddenly called into a Seek to Understand meeting or a formal discipline meeting. And workers are held responsible for low work rates solely because the AI algorithm said so. So even if you had a valid reason, Amazon will always side with the algorithm, not the worker. Now, I'm aware as a union we're against all forms of discrimination, but the AI algorithm takes non-discrimination to a whole other level. So if you have a disability, injury, or medical issue, and you're on a station that requires heavy lifting, the algorithm won't recognize this, and you'll be forced to either work harder and potentially injure yourself, or bear the consequences of a low rate. This is because the algorithm sees you as a robot, and we're not robots. Currently, there are many workers right now, including myself, who have a 9-month-long written warning on their file just because the algorithm said we underperformed. So not only does Amazon use the AI algorithm to force workers to work harder, but they've also gone one step further. They've installed a new AI system which allocates each worker to a random station. They've introduced this to stop workers from speaking to each other, to stop workers from coming together, to stop workers from having control. The result of this is that we now have to work 10-hour-long shifts away from our friends and in total isolation. So essentially, AI is a digital whip in the hands of the managers. It's something that breaks down solidarity and gets workers to compete against each other. Congress, this all shows how dangerous the use of AI can be in the wrong hands. We need resistance in the workplace against it, but we also need a change in the law. This is why I urge you to support this motion. We need clear laws that cut Amazon down to size. Congress, I move.
Thank you, colleague. Seconder. Thank you. Anybody wish to speak against? No, I'll call Dean Gilligan then, the CC Speaker, and call Emergency Motion 8 and Emergency Motion 9. Come to the front, please.
Good morning, everyone. President, Congress, Dean Gilligan responding to Composite 7 on behalf of the CEC that we are supporting with a qualification. This motion correctly calls for vigilance over the implementation of AI so that it does not undermine workers either by de-skilling or through pay. It is also correct in pursuing transparency measures over the use of AI. We are wholly supportive of members campaigning to ensure that their data is secure and that their employer does not use it illegally or improperly. Amazon exploits data that they receive freely from customers and that which they extract from their workforce in order to make profit for shareholders. There is no equitable sharing of the wealth that it creates from those who take it from. It is pure exploitation. We support this composite, but with the qualification, firstly, that we would need to assess how we might approach the ICO on this matter and reserve this campaign to be determined by the membership. Secondly, while we do our best to keep in pace with understanding technological advancements, we may not be able to deliver the training as outlined in the composite. Oh, thank goodness for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Does the regions agree on qualification on composite 7? Thank you. We'll now go to the vote. All those in favour of 131, please show. Any against? That's carried. And all those in favour of composite 7, please show. Any against? That's carried. Could emergency motion 8 come to the rostrum, please?
President, Congress, Dave Levy, moving emergency motion 8, solidarity with David Huerta. This motion is not very long and neither will this speech be. David Huerta is a senior trade unionist on the west coast of the United States. He was violently arrested while acting as observer to a community observer to a demonstration in Los Angeles. I recommend you have a look at what the media is saying about the protest in Los Angeles. He is currently free, but under threat of prosecution, and the protests have not finished. I don't plan to talk about the politics of the protests, but the rights of assembly and association are universally recognised. They are central to the rights of trade unions to organise, and this universality is underwritten by their inclusion in Article 20 of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. Since we are meeting this week, I ask you to support this motion and send messages of solidarity to David Huerta and his union, and call on the TUC and the Labour government to do so too. Solidarity means an injury to one is an injury to all. Solidarity, I move.
Thank you, Dave. Seconder, formally, thank you. Mover of emergency motion 9, please.
President and Congress, Aisha Mahmood, Southern Region, moving emergency motion 9, calling to condemn the escalation by the State of Israel against humanitarian aid flotilla. On the evening of 8th of June, the Madeleine Freedom Flotilla, which was bringing vital humanitarian aid to Gaza, was targeted by the Israeli Defense Force and 12 activists were arrested. Not only is this a gross breach of international maritime law of Article 87, UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, but demonstrates the lack of humanity the Israeli government is showing for the people of Gaza. The activists included Greta Thunberg and Raima Hassan, French MEP. This motion calls on GMB to condemn the escalating actions of the Israeli state in arresting the 12 activists in international waters, for the GMB to urge the British government to demand an end to the blockade of Gaza, to allow vital humanitarian aid into Palestine, and for Congress to show solidarity with those arrested on the flotilla, along with all those impacted by the conflict. Congress, I move this motion.
Thank you, Asha. Seconder.
Good morning, Congress. President. Congress, I strongly second this emergency motion. What happened on the 8th of June was not just an attack on the flotilla, it was an attack on humanity. A peaceful mission bringing food, medicine and hope was met with military aggression. Humanitarian aid was met with handcuffs. And why? Because it dared to challenge the ongoing brutal blockade of Gaza. Let's be absolutely clear. Intercepting aid in international waters is not just wrong, it's an act of cruelty. It sends a message that even the most basic lifelines to the people of Gaza will be met with force. Congress, enough is enough. This union has always stood up for justice, on the picket line, in Parliament and across the world. Now we must raise our voices again. We must condemn this violent escalation by the Israeli state. We must demand the British government break its silence and call for an immediate blockade. We show our solidarity, not just in words, but in action, with those arrested, with those suffering, and with all who stand with peace and dignity. Because when the governments turn their backs, the people must move. We must rise, take on the fight, and make our voices and their voices heard. I second.
Well done, Rachel. Thank you. Does any delegate wish to speak in opposition to this motion or these emergency motions? No. The CC are supporting both the emergency motions, so I'll take them as one. All those in favour, please show. Anyone against? They're carried. Before we go to hear from our guest speakers, we've just got an important item. If you've seen the news this morning, you'll have seen that there's been riots in Northern Ireland overnight. They set fire to a leisure centre where our members work. Robert Sharkey from Northwest Irish region, a delegate here, would like to just make a short statement on this from the platform. Thank you.
Hello, Congress. I'm a first-time delegate, but I really would have preferred to have my first time speaking under better circumstances. So I just want to read a statement that our full-time official has produced. Discussed it with the delegation, and we're all in agreement that it's exactly the kind of thing we need to be doing at this difficult time. So I'm just going to proceed to read it. We unequivocally condemn the appalling racist violence that has erupted across Ballymena, Coleraine and Larne in recent days. These coordinated attacks have left over 30 police officers injured, displaced families from their homes, and culminated in the disgraceful assault on Larne Leisure Centre, where our members were working and where vulnerable people sought refuge. These are not isolated incidents. They are the result of years of neglect and failure by the Northern Ireland Executive to address the root causes of division and despair. The deepening crisis in poverty, social housing, NHS waiting lists, and the destruction of community and youth services have created fertile ground for hate, fear, and scapegoating. The Executive has failed to deliver on the promises of the Good Friday Belfast Agreement. It has failed to build a shared, inclusive society. Most damningly, it has failed to confront the racism and xenophobia that flourish in communities left without support, leadership or hope. Newcomer communities, many of whom are the backbone of our health and social care systems, deserve safety, dignity and respect. They are not to blame for the failures of governments. They are a part of the fabric of our society and must be protected. Many of them are our members. We call on the entire trade union movement to stand united against this wave of hate. We must defend our members, our communities, and the values of solidarity, equality and justice. We urge all unions to mobilise, speak out and demand action. This is a moment for collective resistance, not silence. We demand that the Northern Ireland Executive publicly condemn these racist attacks without equivocation, demand immediate support to displaced families and affected workers, invest in rebuilding community and youth services, tackle the root cause of division through real action on housing, healthcare and poverty, and finally deliver on the vision of peace, equality and inclusion promised by the Good Friday Agreement. Hate has no place in our workplaces, our communities or our society. The trade union movement will not stand by. Congress, we ask for your support and solidarity at this time.
Can we show our solidarity to those workers? Thank you, Robert, and our thoughts are with everybody there. I'm pleased to invite to the stage activists from a sister trade union, the Teamsters, who work and organise in Amazon in the USA. They have been working closely with our Midlands region, building solidarity and shared practice in the struggle against one of the most pernicious employers to have ever existed. Tyrick Pollard and Antonio Rosero are two leading organisers for the Teamsters in Amazon, and I'm delighted that they have come all this way to address our Congress about their campaigns. Welcome, Tyrick and Antonio. The stage is yours.
Good morning. My name is Tyrick Pollard. I'm sorry, I'm a bit nervous. It's the first time I'm doing this. Good morning, my name is Tyrick Pollard. I'm a Teamster and also an Amazon driver from New York. Before I get started, I would like to say thank you to all you nice people for being so friendly to me. This is my first time in the UK. I don't know who's friendlier, you guys or Canadians, so. Honestly speaking, this is such a great experience for me. First time in the UK, it's so wonderful. First time speaking to you nice people. Hopefully, we bring Amazon to the table. Okay. I've been a driver at Amazon for 2 years. It's about to be 3 coming in October. Amazon is ridiculous, if I'm being honest. I've been there for 2-3 years, and it wasn't until my second year I noticed that Amazon doesn't care about the drivers at all. They don't care about how much packages they get, the working conditions, what you got going on in your life, public transportation, none of that. So it wasn't until last year that my friend Nate and Brendan introduced me to the Teamsters. My father figure over there, Tony. We was having these meetings at Dunkin' Donuts every Wednesday. I was there learning my rights, learning what I should be doing as a person to better my company, to better other people around me, teaching them what they should do against Amazon and how to speak up for themselves. Honestly speaking, we decided that we wanted to be unionized, so we had to start working our DSPs. We have 8 DSPs in my warehouse. My DSP is DNA. We had to work underground to get people to sign these union cards because, honestly speaking, everybody knows Amazon don't like union. So, my message was to tell a friend that you trust, to tell a friend. Honestly speaking, it worked. We reached the majority for us to be unionized within all 8 DSPs. So it was time for us to come to march on Amazon and our employers, the DSP owners. When that time come, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I was very nervous. My job was on the line, but I didn't care. I wanted to get this message across that we need to be treated with respect from everybody. It don't matter if it's the customers, the Amazon workers, or Amazon themselves. I'm a human being. I deserve to be treated fairly. When me and my fellow Amazon workers marched in on the boss, oh my God, we was loud. Everybody was just like, who's that? Who's screaming like that? We marched on to Amazon first, and they came with their excuses talking about there's nothing we can do for you guys, blah, blah, blah. We wasn't hearing it. We slammed the paper on their desk, whoever they are, they got the message. Then we moved on to our DSP. Our DSP managers was just as shocked when we slammed the paper on their table, and then we just walked out. Everybody felt great after that. We got the message across that we wanted to be unionized. But of course, the people in Amazon warehouse and our DSP owners didn't want to come to the table and bargain with us. So we decided to take actions into our own hands. Before that, Amazon got scared of us trying to unionize, so they tried to, butter us up. They started giving us hand trucks. There was a time, it was winter, they gave us coats. They decided to start cleaning the vans. I mean, the vans should be cleaned regularly. Am I wrong? Thank you. And also, these union busters are so annoying. Why are you trying? You making $50K a week? Come to talk to me. Don't join a union. Sir, you're in a union yourself. What are you talking about? And also, these union busters always trying to get into your head, talking about, oh, how can we make the job better? Unionize. That's all we ask. We just want better treatment, better pay, a livable wage. Honestly speaking, I live by myself and I can't even afford myself. That sounds crazy. Also, union busters aren't your friends. I had a friend named Manny who was just minding his business doing his job when union buster decided to call him a derogatory word to bait him into, get into an altercation. But at the end of the day, there was witnesses around, and everybody saw who started it, how it started, and that union buster got kicked. I don't know where he's at, but I don't care. Excuse me, I was about to curse just now. Since Amazon still didn't come to the table to bargain with us, we decided we was going to strike. The best time to strike was peak season, when they decided to, everybody wanted their Christmas gifts. I'm sorry for whoever we delayed your packages, but Amazon didn't care, so we didn't care either. We got the messages across. We was there from the crack of dawn. What day was that? December 21st. We was there from the crack of dawn, December 21st, until the 26th of December. We was there from 3 a.m. in the morning to the day of Christmas Eve. We was there from 2 o'clock in the morning, stopping people from coming inside the warehouse. We stopping truck drivers. Honestly speaking, I almost got ran over like 5 times. I was scared for my life. They didn't care. They was like, I'm just doing my job. I'm like, me too. Don't cross the picket line, please. Can you respect that? We got some truckers who decided to respect us, and then other ones tried to run me over. I had to hop on the truck for my life. I'm still here. Yeah, we got that message across, but honestly speaking, Amazon still didn't come to the table. This is a long battle. This is a long, vigorous battle. It is tiring for everybody. I mean, look at me, I look tired. It's a long, tiring battle, and honestly speaking, if I gotta say this, Rome wasn't built in a day. It's gonna be a long process, but I'm in it to win it. Thank you.
Now that's a tough act to follow, because that's a worker talking right there. I love you, brother. I can't tell you how proud I am of him, and from that first moment I met him at the Dunkin' Donuts. I want to thank you, members of Congress and the President. Thank you for allowing us to be here to say a few words. It means a lot to us. Like Adam, I apologize for butchering the language a little bit. I'm from New York, so apologies. I was a young kid in the 90s. I lost my dad at an early age. I was 17, and I kind of got baptized into the Union under fire, knowing that my mother needed me to help her. I found a little job at UPS loading trucks. Fast forward to 1997, I was part of one of the largest strikes in U.S. history, where 185,000 UPS workers across the United States went on strike with Canada. That's when I saw what at a young age, 23 years old, what the power of a union is. And, watching these workers come together at Amazon was really eye-opening for me. My 2023 UPS contract campaign, we were able to bring UPS to the table with just the threat of strike. It was a great idea for the union to start taking people like myself that were used to fighting against this corporation like UPS to take on these fights against Amazon. How do you measure success? I mean, I don't think we could really, at the end of the day, we decided that we were going to tell our workers, it doesn't matter who the president of the United States is, they're not going to stop workers from building a movement that's going to fight to make sure every worker gets the proper benefits and insurance. I know, you know, right now times are tough, but we as workers got to come together. And I think when I think about when we have like real international solidarity was, I think about 1886 during the Haymarket riot where workers fought for just a 40-hour work week, 8-hour day, right? That was the one time I was speaking to Martin about that last night, the last time that I remember, or one of the first strongest times where we as countries came together to fight for something, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours to do what we will. And slowly, these corporations are trying to take that from us. And we can't allow that to happen. We can't allow them to take freedom of assembly. We can't allow them to do a lot of the things that they're trying to take from us right now. I heard that you guys had a tough time during the election. 49%. That's a tough loss, and I know that could be a little demoralizing. But think about the 49% that's still in the fight. Those are the people that you need to double down on. You have a chance to win this. Do not give up. You have to keep fighting. Like Tyrick said, it started with just 3 DSPs, but that March on the Boss was so impactful, it was able to get into the other 8 DSPs in that one facility where we were able to unionize the whole facility. But that impact and the strike also inspired workers all over the country where we have new states, workers that are standing up. It starts small like a spark, but that spark can ignite a fire that can go right through and bring these workers, and that fire in the belly starts to get lit. You can't stop that from happening. We also had an expansion committee that started right during the strike to start going into other buildings built from this group of workers to start educating other workers on their rights and trying to get into those other buildings. Workers know that winning a union contract at their facility and winning across markets, across countries, and across the globe is the only way that we're going to beat Amazon. We can't rely on government or laws sometimes. We really, as workers, have to come together and stand up. They can't stop the workforce. We are the ones that move everything. It's trucks. It's the people that are loading the shelves at the stores. It's the teachers that are going to the schools. We're the workers. They cannot run without us, and it's time that they know that. I'll just wrap it up by saying again, thank you so much for having us here. And we have a saying in the United States, I'm sure you probably have it here, when we say when our communities and workers are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. And I would love to hear some of y'all say that. So when our communities and workers are under attack, what do we do? When our community and workers are under attack, what do we do? What do we do? You're damn right we do. Thank you so much. Appreciate you all. It's a long fight ahead.
Congress, we will now debate the special report on international solidarity in a changing world. We do still have a motion on the agenda that the CEC is asking to be withdrawn in favour of the report. That motion will be moved and seconded by the region after we have debated the report. We will then take the vote on the special report. If the report carries, then that motion will fall, as it stands in conflict with the report. Moving the special report on behalf of the CEC is Barbara Plant and Dave Douglas seconding it. Could I please ask Barbara to the restroom, please?
Chair, Congress, it is with great pride that I move this CEC special report. My international solidarity stems from when, at the age of 14, I first started writing to a pen friend in Germany, a total stranger. For over 50 years, we have visited each other, watched each other grow up and have families, and shared in each other's joys and sorrows. When my dad met her father for the first time, I saw two former adversaries from the Second World War becoming firm friends. Regardless of our place on this planet, we share the same hopes and dreams for ourselves, our families, and future generations. We are all connected by our shared humanity. If we cannot build unity of working people across borders, then who can? This report is where we start, by outlining our past, present, and future of our international work. It reconnects us to our first International Secretary and continued inspirational Eleanor Marx, who stood up for workers and humanity, no matter where they were in the world. We inherit a union made up of ordinary working women and men who did not stand by when the world around them was in dark times. When fascism came for the trade unionists, our Jewish comrades, and many others in the 1930s, GMB members fought back abroad as well as at home. And just like GMB's campaigning for Nelson Mandela's freedom in the 1980s, we were one of the founders of the campaign to free Abdullah Öcalan, who has been in prison since 1999 for advocating for rights and peace for the Kurdish people. These campaigns were not always popular, but they were right at the time and they are right today. They were led by our own members who felt that injustice abroad is just as appalling as injustice at work. Because when the world around us falls apart, it is often trade unions that step up. In Ukraine, since Russia's invasion, unions have assumed new roles to not only improve working conditions, but also deliver material and medical aid in support of soldiers and those displaced. GMB branches also answered the call. They raised money to assist Ukrainian trade unions carrying out that vital humanitarian work. This report makes clear humanitarian issues are trade union issues. I've had the privilege, and it is a privilege, of visiting Palestine and Colombia to meet with workers and sister unions. I've seen firsthand the oppression of Palestinians living in the West Bank and the danger still of being a trade unionist in Colombia. When we think about how tough it can be in the UK, and it is tough, we must also support these struggles, sacrifices and hard-won victories of fellow workers abroad. When I visited the West Bank, I saw workers forced to queue up through checkpoints and forced onto separate roads in disrepair on their way to work every day. And like so many, I've been absolutely horrified by the suffering, starvation and unfolding genocide of Palestinians in Gaza. But I'm also inspired by the determination of Palestinian emergency service workers trying to save lives and unions standing up for Palestinian rights despite the brutal occupation and indignities their members face. Congress, there are workers and unions out there needing our solidarity, and in GMB they should have a friend. They can count on a campaigning union that does not just repeat Will Thorne's vision for a world filled with freedom, beauty and equality for all workers, but acts on it. Our members in Amazon have helped build a global network of solidarity with workers exploited in those brutal warehouses just like our own, and solidarity with unions like the Teamsters, with Tyrick and Antonia today. Our members stand much taller than that corporate giant, and together we will win. Congress, I want to finish with a powerful and moving poem by James Baldwin, a black writer and civil rights activist, which I feel captures why international solidarity is so crucial and hopeful. Every bombed village is my hometown, and every dead child is my child. Every grieving mother is my mother. Every crying father is my father. And every home turned to rubble is the home I grew up in. Every brother carrying the remains of his brother across borders is my brother. Every sister waiting for a sister who will never come home is my sister. And every one of these people are ours, just like we are theirs. We belong to them, and they belong to us. Please support this CEC special report. I move.
Thank you, Barbara. Dave, and if regions are putting in speakers on the report, could they please come down to the front? And as we take him in order of London, Midland, North East Yorkshire, Humberside, North Western Ireland, Scotland, Southern, and Wales and South West.
President, Congress, comrades, talking about butchering the English language. See what we can do with this. Try and do the rest. I won't apologise though. We don't apologise from Yorkshire. Dave Douglas, North East Yorkshire and Humber region, second in the CEC Special Report on International Solidarity in a Changing World. Internationalism is not just a lofty ideal, it's our bread and butter. It stands at the heart of a better world and at the heart of how we make work better at home. Because let's be honest, Congress, the world will have no organising working class to show solidarity with if we cannot bring home the jobs offshored under hyper-globalisation and save our public services decimated by austerity. This report will help us be louder and more influential in our campaigning to bring these jobs and industries home. It also seeks to learn the lessons from where our union-to-union links abroad have helped our members to win it in the workplace. So that when big trade deals decide the future of whole industries, GMB members can leverage the highest decision makers to defend their jobs. So that more disputes can be won with the help of our union-to-union links abroad, just like London regions fight against fire and rehire in Pilgrim Food Masters, and North West and Irish regions fight to stop offshoring jobs at Jacob Biscuits in Aintree, Liverpool. As the world becomes a more dangerous place, we, of course, demand that our governments pursue peaceful diplomatic solutions to overseas conflicts, but we must also prioritise what keeps us safe. Yes, this means investment in our domestic defence, manufacturing sector and our members' jobs that make it. But it must not be paid for by cutting the welfare state or the terms and conditions of our public sector members. The economic security of our working people is the bedrock of our national security. The fruits of that investment must be spent on improving our own defence, not on joining military interventions across the globe that make us less safe. What this report sets out, Congress, is our ability to help make the world safer for working people everywhere through leverage. A worker-centred approach to trade that insists on enforceable labour rights in any new trade agreements, on action to support our exporting industries, and on ruling out trade deals with regimes that systematically abuse and exploit workers. And a worker-centred approach to global issues such as climate change, to ensure that any energy transition is led by workers, not done to them. This continues our union's work with the Climate Jobs National Research Centre in the United States for ambitious action on climate change, with our plan that centres good quality work and a fairer and safer country. Importantly, this report commits us to supporting our Northern American counterparts targeted by the rising hard right and ensuring such diverse ideology does not take root here in the UK, not only through our solidarity but through industrial renewal. Because Congress, there is no wealth without working people. To this end, the report commits us to developing our affiliated European and global networks of trade union federations to support the unity of all working people in defence of their rights, jobs and freedoms. In the face of a challenging world, it is time that the working class take control of our destiny together. Congress, please second this special report.
Thank you, David. London.
Kim Hendry, London Region, supporting the CEC Special Report on International Solidarity. President, Congress, in the brief time I have, I will speak to the Palestine section of the report, as that covers my branch's motion 289. Congress, the Palestine section of this report begins, as Barbara said, Congress is outraged by the unfolding genocide and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank by Israeli forces, and it rejects the racist and imperialist lie that this war began on 7th of October 23. It makes clear that Israel's offensive in Gaza follows decades of violations of Palestinian human rights, ethnic cleansing, and the imposition of a system of oppression against all of Palestinians that is recognized as apartheid by the ICJ. What we are witnessing is not a war between two states, with one side is dispossessed, starved, injured, buried under the rubble. No state, no standing army, no escape, just parents writing their kids' names on their legs in case they don't survive. And on the other side, the most powerful military in the Middle East, a nuclear state backed and funded by the most powerful country in the world and supported by the Western ruling classes, including successive UK governments. This is not self-defence. Congress, we need to talk about the complicity of UK governments, Conservative and now the Labour government, in this genocide. The report condemns the Labour government's support for Israeli military action, saying the government is at risk of being in breach of its obligations under international law and complicit in war crimes. A Labour government. It recognises the government continues to allow the sale and supply of weapons, parts and military intelligence to support Israeli military action. And it pledges to work with our parliamentary group of Labour MPs to strengthen our calls on the UK government to immediately ban all sales. So what is the current state of play? Obviously, I've only got a minute left or whatever, but very briefly. In September 24, David Lammy suspended a small proportion of the UK arms export licences to Israel, 30 out of 350. The government continues to claim this partial ban covers all items which can be used against Palestinians in Gaza, but this is false. There have been many reports. I'm going to just quote one for time reasons. A report by the British Palestinian Committee catalogued both the validation of arms licences, but also our government's wider and deepening military collaboration with Israel, continued export of spare parts for F-35 fighter jets bombing Gaza, just not direct, but they're getting there, provision of logistical support to the IDF, repeated intelligence provision from the UK via surveillance flights from the Cyprus British base. Last month, British campaigners at the Campaign Against the Arms Trade found that the 3-month total of arms sales after the partial ban had exceeded all that the Tories had allowed. So
Kim, can you wind up now, please?
Sorry, apologies. This report upholds solidarity with the Palestinians and the working classes of Israel and the Middle East based on socialist, international, working class unity. Please support this report. Go back into your branches and try and implement everything in this report. It's urgent. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Midland.
President, Vice President, Secretary, Congress and our guests. Jacqueline Burnett-Pitt from the Midlands region, speaking in support of the CEC Special Report, International Solidarity in a Changing World. As the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. This is the stance within the GMB Union, united we stand. It is great to know that the GMB Union are supporting the international trade unionists in their fight for employees' rights. International employers such as Amazon, I didn't actually know you guys were going to be here today, but who are constantly trying to beat down the presence of the union. Last year we had speakers from Amazon UK and from the US, and this is what we call excellent networking. GMB's fight for humanitarian issues, as they are trade union issues. Ukraine, Palestine, just to name a couple out of many. They need our continued support, physically and monetarily. Solidarity to our brothers and sisters on the international platform. Congress, let's support this special report and let GMB continue the good work that they have started. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. The Great North East Yorkshire Humberside.
Malcolm, in your last day as chair, can I thank you? And can I also ask for a few seconds of leniency if I go slightly over? Right. Congress, President, Chair, Fazana Jummer, representing the North East Yorkshire and Humber region, in support of the report. Our international agenda of showing solidarity with the other workers around the world comes from us, our members at home. When our members see the fight for injustice at work, how can they not speak out about injustices that they witness in the media around the world? How can they not feel sick to their core, seeing the atrocities faced by babies, children, men and women? GMB has a strong history of standing up for injustices when it wasn't popular. It has been proven time and time again through history we were right to do so. In 1985, our union's Congress expressed its solidarity with the struggle of black workers in South Africa for genuine trade union rights, better living and working conditions, and against the system of apartheid. The shoulders of our GMB giants then, in 1985, supported campaigns mounted by the anti-apartheid regime and the trade union movement to ensure that effective action was taken. Congress, often throughout my lived experience, when I hear people mention that you need to go home, especially when I speak out about injustices, I say this: I'll be heading back to Yorkshire. Ultimately, the words that resonate with me are, I am here because you were there. Let that sink in. Solidarity Congress begins at home, building a truly international movement in a changing world. With this report, we continue this work. I will be addressing some hard truths that the media doesn't address now. I'll be addressing how we have seen genocide in Sudan and the unfolding genocide in Gaza. Over 50,000 people have been killed, and what we continue to witness is savage and unconscionable. Israel, the government of Israel, has intentionally cut off food, water, fuel, electricity and aid to Gaza, creating a famine where 2 out of 3 people are starving to death. This is collective punishment. And I must point out that Netanyahu's government does not represent everyone in Israel. Citizens are regularly protesting and demanding change, despite the violence that they face speaking out. Race and faith should not be factored in these despicable acts against civilians, and anyone trying to draw the GMB into that, we will not tolerate a hierarchy of racism. Colleagues mentioned the Freedom Flotilla Coalition and the activists that were on there, and I thank the individuals who brought that forward. You know, this is another example of how vital aid has been blocked. Congress, how many men, women, children need to die? What is the figure that the government needs to do something meaningful? We also know that our British politicians are fully aware, and there's only one way out. Our government must end arms sales to Israel, establish the Palestinian state. Justice here helps.
Wind up now, please, Fazana.
Congress, yep. Congress, GMB encourages to support our members' right to attend peaceful protests. Saturday, the 21st of June, is a national march for Palestine. Congress, support this report so we, the GMB, can remain on the right side of history. Thank you. I move.
Thank you, Fazana. North Western Irish. Thank you, Scotland.
Good afternoon, President, Vice President, Congress, Ross Herbert, GMB Scotland, speaking in support of the CEC Special Report. First-time delegate and first-time speaker. Thank you. Congress, our union was founded on the basis of international solidarity. Our history is steeped in it. In a world that is becoming ever more uncertain, where the far right is on the rise and people feel the need to look ever more inwards, we must be prepared to extend a hand of friendship and solidarity with workers around the globe. Trump's tariffs have been an obvious example of that uncertainty. His tariffs on Scotch whisky, for example, weren't just damaging to workers here, but workers also in America. Global trade wars make our international connections more important than ever. Speaking with a collective voice to our respective governments will protect the trade routes which benefit us all across the Atlantic, the continent and around the world. This does not mean to say that a degree of protectionism is wrong. The abolishment of free trade rules which prevent domestic content requirements benefit all workers by ending the race to the bottom on pay and terms and conditions. It will give governments and businesses certainty that there will be a domestic market and workers the benefits of a skilled and well-paid job. Scotland will then be able to catch up in building the supposedly just transition we were all promised. The far right around the world is seizing on these failures with their own hollow promises. They claim to have the solutions, but will only deepen the crisis in our economy, services and communities. Solidarity, both at home and abroad, is the antidote to the seeds of hatred and division being sown by the far right. With a response from the trade union movement on our shop floors, our break rooms, our homes, our social clubs and our streets, we can halt and turn the tide. Congress, please support this special report.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
Southern. And can the mover and seconder of motion 288 please come to the front?
President, Vice President, Congress, Ali Haydor, Southern Region, supporting CEC's special report on international solidarity in a changing world. Congress, this report shows our union has a proud history of standing up for workers, not just here in the UK, but across the world. From our founding in 1889 to the campaigns we run today. We have taken action that makes a real difference, standing with unions in Ukraine, supporting Amazon workers in America, speaking out against unfair trade deals, the tariffs, and pushing back against the global rise of the far right. Congress, The workers and communities we often support live far beyond our borders. They may be strangers to us, but they are not strangers to struggle and pain. And even strangers must have access to basic human rights, freedom and justice. Congress, this report offers tools and support for reps and officers and practical help for branches to get involved in international work. These are strong steps forward, but we know there's still more to be done. Congress, we need more of our members to take part. We must make international work a key part of our movement. We need to connect global struggles to the ones we face here at home. For secure jobs, better pay, and strong public services for all. Just statements is not enough. It's about taking action. It's about turning words into support and real change. Congress, this report moves us in the right direction. Let's build on the work we have already done, create a union that speaks with one voice for working people here and across the world. Congress, support this special report, united in purpose, united in strength, united in unity, I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. And last but not least, the wonderful Wales and South West.
President, Congress, Wales and South West region speaking in support of the CEC Special Report. We give our full and unwavering support to the CEC report on international solidarity. This report is not just a document, it is a call to action, a blueprint for how our union must stand united, not only within our borders, but shoulder to shoulder with working people across the globe. Our region has a proud industrial heritage, from the slate mines of North Wales down through the coal fields of South Wales. Through the docks of Bristol and the manufacturing towns of Cornwall, we know too well that the challenges facing workers are never confined to one workplace, one industry, or even one country. When steel jobs are threatened in Port Talbot or the shipyards in Appledore face closure, the root causes often stretch far beyond our shores. Global supply chains, multinational employers, and international trade agreements all shape our daily realities. The CEC report recognizes this. It reminds we must be able to stand up to the challenges we face. If we do not do politics, politics is done to us. And in today's world, that means engaging internationally, because decisions made in Brussels, Washington, or Beijing can have as much impact on our members as those made in Cardiff or Westminster. Our union's history teaches us that the industrial victories need political backup. From the earliest days, GMB has understood that laws and budgets passed in the parliament, often far removed from the shop floor, can make or break our hard-won gains. That's why we formed the Labour Party. But in the globalized world, we must work wider to protect our members. The report calls for us to strengthen our grassroots capacity, to build campaigns from the ground up, tailored to our devolved and local structures. Let's be clear, the rise of far-right populism and anti-union forces is not just a domestic threat, it is a global one. The report demands a campaign in response to those who would scrap employment law and cut vital public services. We know from our own experience that when rights are under attack anywhere, they are threatened everywhere. We must use our influence through Labour, through the TUC, and through the international bodies to press for strong employment rights, to challenge fire and rehire tactics, and to demand justice for all workers, including those in supply chains that feed our local industries. Our solidarity must be more than words, it must be action. Our region has always looked outward. Welsh miners fought with the Spanish Republicans, Bristol dockers stood against apartheid. We follow in that proud tradition. The CEC report's commitment to international solidarity is a natural extension of our values and our history. Congress, the CEC report sets out a vision for a union that is strong in international solidarity as it is in industrial action. It is a vision I'm proud to support. Let us remember the power of our union lies not just in what we do for ourselves, but in what we do for each other, across regions, across nations, and across the world. Please support. Thank you.
Thank you, Martina. Mover of 288.
Good afternoon, Congress, President. After I move this motion, it's probably last time delegate, last time speaker. So I thank the CEC for its very excellent statement, but I'm here moving this motion because my branch does not feel that the CEC's statement adequately covers the issues that were raised in our motion. So the UK government have committed to levels of military expenditure that are the highest this century. Given the spending and borrowing constraints that our government has adopted, this will directly attack vital areas of social spending and public services that will create and support our economy. Britain is being transformed into a major military power, one with a permanent war economy and the capability to intervene across continents. The Scottish Government has published some research that shows that military spending has one of the lowest employment multipliers of all economic categories, lower than agriculture, energy, food, manufacture of chemicals, iron and steel. Throwing public money at armaments designed to project British and American military power across this world makes no economic sense. We need to break this death spiral. Britain's role in the world does not need to be like this. We could be creating a multilateral world and fostering diplomatic solutions to world conflicts. Instead, we are widely seen as a belligerent nation across the globe. We could be fostering a broad-based growth in our economy through investment in manufacturing, infrastructure, healthcare, transport, and education, instead of cutting these areas and inflicting more social and economic distress, fostering the growth of the far right, and enriching a handful of armament corporations. Many of the arguments that I am making can be found in the Alternative Defence Review, and I would urge all delegates to take the time to read this document. We need to start a debate in the GMB and the wider trade union movement about returning to the basis of international solidarity for all working people, the promotion of peace. We need to revisit the ideas of defence diversification on the basis of just transition, just as we are doing with the environment. This needs to start with a review of our policy of support to NATO and a conference of the labour movement to discuss what our policies should be. The target for military expenditure is now 3% of GDP by the next Parliament. When Keir Starmer announced this, the Trump White House demanded that we increase our defence spending to 5% of GDP. Delegates, I am reminded of the Anglo-Saxon king, Ethelred the Unready, who thought he could buy off a tax from the Vikings by paying the so-called Danegeld. However, once the Vikings received their tribute, they only wanted more and more. Ethelred found himself at the mercy of more unwanted attention from the Viking lords. This is our situation now. We find ourselves in. No matter how much Danegeld we give to the barbarians, they always want more. This is why we desperately need to reset our relationship with NATO. If you can, please support this motion. War is over if you want it. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Seconder. Does London Region agree to withdraw the motion? No. Right, we'll now go to the vote on the special report number 4 from the CEC. The CEC are asking you to support this report. All those in favour, please show. Any against? That's carried. With the special report carrying, that means automatically that motion 288 falls. And the reason for that is because it stands in conflict with the report. We'll now move on. There's a video.
Conference, delegates, friends, it is an honor to be addressing you today for the GMB's annual conference. It is a pleasure to be among so many friends. Thank you to Gary Smith, Barbara Plant, and the team here at the GMB for extending the invitation. And thank you all for listening. I am only sorry I cannot be there with you in person. We know there is a long history of Palestine solidarity with this union, and we know also that there is a long and noble history of activism on the international causes here in this union, notably on apartheid South Africa. The struggle against apartheid took decades. The struggle for Palestinian rights is taking more than a century. It is the same struggle, a struggle against inequality, racism, and injustice, which in Palestine today means a struggle against genocide, enforced famine, mass murder, and ethnic cleansing. And it has the same remedy, the mobilization of people everywhere who cannot stomach such gross and daily violations of decency, of international law, of human rights, and of any and all laws of morality. Unity, my friends, is our strength. Unity against mass destruction. Unity against ethnic cleansing. Unity against genocide. My friends, it's really not complicated. It is precisely what you see on your phone screens every single day. People are starving. People are being slaughtered. Over 60,000 confirmed dead so far, with the actual number certain to be over 100,000 in Gaza. 50,000 children killed or maimed. 50,000 children killed or maimed. Let that sink in. Gaza is now home to the largest cohort of amputee children in the world. How is that not a daily headline? Everything is destroyed. Schools, homes, hospitals, clinics, road infrastructure, sewage infrastructure, universities, industry, even agricultural land. To borrow the language of the Genocide Convention, born in 1948, to which every country in the world is a signatory, Israel has deliberately and systematically targeted the conditions of life in Gaza. Not only that, it has told us clearly what it intends. Israeli leaders, from the Prime Minister and President on down, have been very clear that the aim of Israel's assault on Gaza is to empty the land of its people, whom they also made clear they consider less human. Intent, design, and action. You will never find a more open and shut case. This is not an assault on Palestinians only, it is an assault on humanity. This is not self-defense, it is the most naked and inhumane aggression on a specific set of people, not just this century, but since World War II. The Genocide Convention, the United Nations, the whole infrastructure of the global order erected after the horrors of World War II was established precisely to avoid such madness, such carnage from ever recurring. And yet, it is happening now again. So, my friends, it seems sadly that Hannah Arendt was right. Evil is not some great monster that stalks the earth, rearing its ugly head and screaming its name out loud. Evil is the quiet bureaucracy of complicity, the complicity of silence and the silencing of dissent. It is the everyday and the mundane. It is a redrawing of moral boundaries, and above all, it is the normalization of genocide. But it's not all without hope, my friends. Today, although it has taken far too long, we are beginning to see a turning of the tides. And that is because of ordinary people who refuse to stay silent in the face of evil. First and foremost, the refusal of the Palestinian people, my people, who have remained resolute and steadfast in the face of unimaginable suffering. Their resilience is the source of our strength, of my strength and hope. It is the millions of ordinary people in the UK and around the world who have been marching in the streets every week, every day, for nearly 2 years now, speaking up for the right of the Palestinian people to live safely and freely in dignity and in peace. And it is you, the labor movement, the trade unions. I am so honored to have been invited to speak to almost all trade union conferences, congresses in the last year, and to witness your support. It is because of this solidarity from all all the peace-loving, justice-affirming people of the world like yourselves that this just cause is surviving. And finally, the UK government has begun to take some tangible steps, both in word and in deed. It has called out Israel's aggression on the parliament floor. It has enacted a partial arms embargo, sanctioned individual settlers, including just yesterday, 2 senior extremist Israeli government ministers. It has announced the suspension of trade talks. We welcome all these steps, but we also say much more can and should be done. Because the problem is not just about a few individuals and cannot be solved with half measures. That is why we call on the UK to hold the entire ecosystem accountable, to sanction the Israeli government, impose a full arms embargo, hold war criminals accountable at the ICC and elsewhere, and recognize a state of Palestine. The time for principled action is now, and together we must demand it. So it is to you, the people, the unionists, the activists, the fundamentally decent, that we turn to. It is from you that we gather strength and hope, and it is through you and your continued and tireless efforts that we will turn this around, that we will see history return to justice, that we will see humanity reassert itself. Together we will not waver, my friends. Together we will not tire, and together we will not be silenced. Unity forged in the common bonds of our shared humanity is our strength. We must not, we will not be denied. There must and there will be one day, not too distant, a free Palestine. Thank you.
Powerful video there from the Palestinian ambassador to the UK, Dr. Hussam Zomlet. As you heard in the speech, in the debate previous, it's really important that we hear Palestinian voices in these dark times. Finish off our videos of international solidarity. We are honoured to have also been sent a message from the second Deputy Vice President of Spain, which is their Deputy Prime Minister role. Yolanda Diaz-Perez is also the Minister of Labour and Social Economy. As she will explain in her video, she is dedicated to the betterment of working life for the people of Spain, embedding rights for workers so that people can live with dignity.
Querido Gary, querida Bárbara, queridas compañeras, queridos compañeros. Es un honor saludaros, aunque sea en la distancia, y acompañaros, aunque solo sea con mi voz, en este importante congreso del GMB. Gracias por vuestra invitación y sobre todo por vuestro compromiso incansable en la defensa de los derechos de las personas trabajadoras en el Reino Unido. Os traigo un mensaje de solidaridad desde España, desde un gobierno que ha situado la dignidad laboral en el centro de su acción política, subiendo el salario mínimo un 61%, protegiendo a los riders y a las trabajadoras del hogar, avanzando hacia un paradigma de estabilidad en el empleo. Y desde un pueblo que, como el vuestro, sabe que no hay justicia social sin sindicatos fuertes. Vivimos tiempos difíciles, la desigualdad se agrava, el poder de las grandes corporaciones crece sin límites y nuestras democracias están siendo puestas a prueba. Pero también sabemos algo más, que la esperanza se construye desde abajo, desde cada huelga, desde cada negociación colectiva, cada pequeño avance en la conquista de derechos para quienes trabajan. Vuestra lucha por un New Deal reforzado es, en realidad, una tarea de reconstrucción, desmontar los cimientos carcomidos de la arquitectura neoliberal y alzar en su lugar un nuevo edificio de derechos y esperanza para la clase trabajadora británica. También quisiera daros las gracias por vuestra solidaridad histórica, desde quienes defendieron la República Española en las brigadas internacionales hasta quienes alzaron la voz durante la dictadura y hoy acompañan a las trabajadoras y trabajadores que luchan contra la precariedad y el abuso. Hoy, más que nunca, necesitamos tejer alianzas transnacionales. Los desafíos que enfrentamos, el cambio climático, el capitalismo digital, La desigualdad no entienden de fronteras, tampoco debería entender de fronteras nuestra lucha. Sigamos construyendo esperanza, colectivamente, internacionalmente, desde España, con solidaridad y todo el cariño. Muchas gracias y muchos éxitos.
I hope you've enjoyed those videos throughout the week. I think they've all been really powerful and all shown in their own different ways why international solidarity is so important and that we must continue to build it. Congress, I would like to invite Linda Carr-Pollock, CEC member from GMB Scotland, to give the omnibus vote of thanks.
President Congress, Linda Carr-Pollock, GMB Scotland. It's an honour and a privilege to have been nominated by GMB Scotland to deliver this year's vote of thanks on behalf of the CEC. Wow, hasn't it been a very, very, very busy last 4.5 days, and it's flown by. It has been a very busy week, and we've heard a broad range of motions and speeches. We've heard from first-time speakers, motions covering industrial, workplace and social issues. And we saw from the many videos our campaigns keep growing and industrial action taken. Your motions share with us what is important to you. You share your wins, your highs, your struggles, and you share such emotive stories with us, your GMB family. Your presence and contributions have made this Congress vibrant, dynamic and powerful. We have had many rule amendments, special reports, and of course had our guest speakers, especially the Teamsters. Thank you for coming all the way from the US to address us at our Congress. Being an NHS worker myself, I had the pleasure of speaking to Anira Thomas, known as Nye. What an inspirational woman she is. And I could have listened to her stories forever and ever. I would love to read a book too of all the things she didn't or couldn't tell us. Thank you to all of you for supporting the ask to establish an honouring Bevan Day. I can never say his name, sorry. Nye Bevan Day on the 15th of November. We all need the NHS, and without the contribution of Nye Bevan, we would not have such a thing. Thank you all for your participation in the elections of our President and Vice President. Thank you to those who stood for election but were unsuccessful. Your speeches are testament to the work that you do and continue to do. Congratulations, Barbara, on your re-election to be our President and continuing your excellent leadership through the next term of office. And to Sonia, our newly elected Vice President, we wish you every success as you begin a new stage in your union journey. Well done. Congratulations also to this year's award winners, Kelvin, Lauren, Carly, Abigail and John. Congratulations also to the second cohort of GRASP ambassadors. Before I begin the rest of the thank yous, I'm going to apologise now in case I miss anybody off. Thank you to you, the lay members, for engaging in the motions and debates and for not just demonstrating but exercising your voices in our union democracy to oppose the CEC in securing an increase of the £20 allowance to £25. I am sure the financial team are already busy working out how that changes the bank balance. It is you, the lay members, that have made that change possible. A special thanks to the National Office staff, Gavin Sibthorpe, stepping into very big shoes. You have done amazing. Lawrence Turner, Anna Barnes, Ross Holden, Cass Farmer and Sanjita Gilani for planning and organising Congress. To the National Office staff on reception, including Pat Gannon and Lacey Smith, Kevin Panton and Bob Robinson for the Internet Cafe, and to Steve Short and Hilary Perrin for the exhibition area, and all the unseen national staff doing a great job behind the scenes to support the smooth running of the union across the rest of the year. Thank you to our signers and the wonderful, wonderful job you do in contributing to the accessibility of our Congress. You do amazing work keeping up with fast speakers and dealing with the many accents we hold across this room. To all attendees, thank you for your active participation and engagement. Thank you to the venue staff here at the conference centre, the stewards, the catering staff, and all the organisations hosting stalls. Thanks to Barry Smith, Karen Dudley, and everyone on the Standing Orders Committee who sit in the room all week, working hard to keep everything on track. And of course, Barry, we wish you well as we wave goodbye to you. Let's not forget thanks to the regional secretaries and the delegation leaders, especially mine in GMB Scotland. Thanks to you, Louise. And of course, I can now say, for anyone who doesn't know, thanks to my lovely husband, Tam, who both keep us on track before and during Congress. Thank you to our lay members who volunteer to steward the doors, ensuring we are safe, and they always brighten our day with their smiles and their humour, and the two over there are now known as the cheeky boys. Thank you to Malcolm for supporting Barbara and the CEC through the preparation for and vice-chairing this year's Congress. Thank you, Malcolm. We have heard from the potters and how precious their industry is and how we can help them protect their future. We have heard about the fights for equal pay, the struggles across all workplaces, public and private sector. Good luck to you all in your ongoing fight for what is right. We know what important roles we all play as lay members, and now, as a union, we will look to better improve the support for our own mental health and well-being. If we can't look after ourselves, we can't look after those who need us most. Most of all, Congress, we would like to give thanks to you, the lay members. It is you who are the union. We have and always will be a member-led union. It is your voices that drive the change we seek. Without you, there would be nothing. So thank you to you. Finally, thank you to Gary and Barbara for all the hard work you do day in and day out as the parents. For all of us, your wonderful and amazing children and extended family. You stand side by side with members. You support them. You support us and enable us to be the best union, the union of choice, the union that is there for all, no matter the struggle. You face it head on without fear. You show care and compassion, and as has been said before and still applies in the words of our founder, Will Thorne, there is a world of freedom, beauty and equality to gain where everyone will have an opportunity to express the best that is in them for the benefit of all, making the world a better place, more to our heart's desire and the better to dwell in. Keep organising, keep growing, be the best version of yourselves. It's a time to look forward, to move on from the past and be the very best we know we are and can be. Keep on fighting, agitating and creating change for the better. Whilst I have lived in the beautiful country of Scotland for 22 years, my hometown will always be my hometown. So I look forward to seeing you all next year in Blackpool, and that we are blessed with sunshine, and hopefully not just under a UK Labour government, but also under a Scottish one. I wish you all a safe journey home. Solidarity to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. We will now show the end of Congress video, and who knows what's in it, I don't.
It was 50 years ago that the Equal Pay Act came into force. 50 years where female workers are to be paid the same wage as male workers doing the same job or a job of equivalent value. We are not getting paid the same in Brighton and Hove City Council. So, me and my colleagues have joined the GMB Equal Pay Campaign to fight for what is rightfully and lawfully ours. Fair pay. Equal pay.
We've written all the letters and the emails, haven't we? We've made more speeches, we've had our debates, and we've done fighting. We've also heard the applause in the Congress, haven't we? But now it's time for action! Let's just show them how powerful GMB really is. And let's march for justice, fairness, and our Brighton sisters. So today I ask to stand shoulder to shoulder, not just for ourselves, but the workers who've been told they need to wait for their turn, to actually sit there and accept less, and to settle for equality. But we are here now, and we are saying, Brighton, no more! Let's march with a fire in our heart, the way we've been doing it, in solidarity in every step that we take. We are GMB! We are GMB! We are loud! We are loud! We are proud! We are proud! And together we stand powerful! And together we stand powerful! We will march together! We will march together! And we will win! And we will win! Thank you!
Great little video that captured yesterday afternoon. Thank you. I would now like to invite the General Secretary to the rostrum to give his closing address.
Everybody feeling a bit tired this morning, are we? Barbara says to me, I don't know why you're tired. You've just got to sit there all week. It's me and Malcolm that does the work, and there's something in that. But thank you for giving me the honour of being the General Secretary and Treasurer. I will be very handsomely, please honour to do this job. And basically, I do get paid to mingle this week and spend time with all of you. You're fantastic shop stewards, and it's great to be amongst you. It falls to me to say a number of thank yous as well as what Linda said. So on behalf of myself and the team, to the Gluttons for Punishment and the Standing Orders Committee, thank you so much for all your work. Karen Dudley, Karen James, David, Duncan, Bob, Mary Finn, Craig Jones, and the fantastic Barry Smith, who said is retiring this year. Barry, your service to this union and the support you've given me as a national official, but also what's in legal, Barry, you're going to be a huge amount to the bottom of my heart, and on behalf of the whole of the fantastic, very long and very happy return, and thank you, Barry. To the CEC observers, they really have the toughest job in my view, John Colbert and Lindsay England, thank you very. To the team for T5, Gary and Phil, I presume you're up there, Gary, finish proud again this year. To the whole team, thank you, T5. To the verbatim shorthand writers, Mary Krell, thank you very much. To our fantastic team of interpreters, Helen Folks, Benjamin Gorman, Karen Green, we really, really appreciate everything you've done for us this week. Steve and Gary from U2 Events, they do a lot of the backstage support, they provide the water coolers. Thank you, team, thanks for your work. And Mike Crofton and Glenn from Exhibit World, you put up all the stands for us. Really, really appreciate and thank you for what you've done for us. In terms of the exhibitors, they play a big part in Congress. Really grateful for those who make the time and effort. Hilary Perrin, who was here at the start of the week. Hilary's retired. She's done the exhibits for the past few years. I think it's actually the third time Hilary's retired from the GMB. People just keep coming back. But Hilary has finally hung up this year. She worked for us previously and has done a great job. I'm very, very grateful to Hilary for all her efforts. And Hilary has been succeeded by Steve Short. Some of you who remember Steve Short, he retired last year as the executive officer. He's back this year running the exhibits. Steve, what a fantastic job you've done this week, pal. We're great to have you still on board. To all the conference centre staff, thank you for making us feel so welcome. And in particular to Michael, who's the House and Events Manager. You've dealt with us, Michael, patiently and diligently for many, many years, and we know that you're due to retire. So again, have a very good, well-deserved and very long retirement, Michael. Thank you. Wiggy and the catering team, and in fact all the staff who've worked in the centre, serving us drinks, serving us food, we really appreciate the work that you've done on our behalf as well. They've been mentioned already, the Chuckle brothers at the back there. Sam, I'll see you when we get back to Paisley, pal. And Ian, thank you for just being your usual happy, smiling self. And for the rest of the stewarding team, great job. Thank you. General Member Auditors, Jane, Kevin, Stephen, Karen, thank you so much for your time this week. Nipabout Crest staff, great contribution for yourselves. Thank you. To the NEU team, the National Administration team, we've got Alison Turtle, our Head of Finance, who's been throwing about tenors like they're going out of fashion, conceding stuff about expenses here at Congress, much to my concern. Alison, Michael, you've done a fantastic job on the finances. What a team you are. Thank you so much. And Sam and John for the IT team, thanks for coming down for Scotland. Really appreciate your efforts. To the National Secretaries and RIA, please pass on our best wishes and all our gratitude to the national officers who've come and done fringe meetings and who've supported the event here over the past week. To the National Office staff, huge thank you to John Callow and Peter Welsh. They've done some fantastic work in the lead up to Congress and here this week as well. And I don't like to single people out or individuals for their contribution, but I do have to say Anna Barnes and Ross Holden, they work on the stage. You're so patient, you're so tolerant to me. And honestly, they just bring a calm to this top table. Thank you. I really, really appreciate all that you've done. And on the note of patience, Wendy, who works with me at National Office, you deserve a medal or something, Wendy, for putting up with me. So thank you for your help this week. Sangeeta, brilliant. What a shift that you've put in this week. Thank you so much. I see you every morning and every night, never off your feet. Thank you, Sangeeta. Absolutely above and beyond what you're required to do. And our new executive officer, Gavin Sidthorpe, used to work in politics for the GMB. He's changed role this week and was looking a wee bit more stressed and fried. But you've had a great first Congress, Gavin. I don't know where you are, but thank you very much, pal. The irrepressible Kevin Panton. He's here every year, year in, year out. Kevin, he'll be here clearing up the rest of the team afterwards. Great to see you, mate. And again, we appreciate you so very much. Pat Gannon, who's been on the reception for 11 consecutive Congresses now, I think. Pat, great to see you every morning, welcoming and supporting us. And Lacey Turner, that was our first Congress this year. Lacey, great to have you on board with the team. Lauren Tiney, 12 years coming to Congress. Ever dependable. Thank you to those long-serving staff. Eleanor, Lindsay, Asha, Tracy, Rimmel, Kieran, Mel, they're the people who've been doing the names, the lights, helping it, making sure that things run smoothly. We again say a huge thanks from all of us. To the comms team, Emma, Scott, JPD, absolutely put it out of the park again this week. Some incredible coverage for the union. You know, seeing us being run live on the news when the Chancellor was here, it doesn't happen by accident. Thanks very much for your efforts. And my good pal, Mark Betteridge, what a shift you've put in again, and really, really appreciate it, mate. Thank you. It falls to me as well to say really well done to everybody who stood in the elections. It takes a lot of courage to stand up here and put yourself forward. to be an office bearer in this union. You did yourselves proud, and thank you for doing that. And Barbara and Sonia, the Congress, this wonderful Congress, has bestowed a great honour on you, and I know that you appreciate it. You're well-deserved winners. Well done, and I really, really look forward to working with you over the next period. Thank you. And above all, for me, thank you to all of you. You make Congress what it is, and you are part of an army of thousands who put so much time and energy into building this fantastic union. We've come together, we've disagreed, we've had debate this week, but we've done it in a comradely way, and we've always put the interests of the members first. And let's never, ever forget, the enemies are never in this hall. Our enemies are out there, and let's not forget it. And look, disagreement and debate is part of being in the union. It is healthy. And I do think it's appropriate to recognise those this week who have successfully overturned the CEC as we've gone through the debate. Enjoy the rest of your time in Brighton, because you'll not be going to Blackpool next year. And that includes the whole of North East Yorkshire and Humber. There'll be a big bloody gap when we get to Blackpool, you trust me. Who knew Fazana was going to be such a problem, eh? I kind of suspected it. Anyway, look, their industrial campaigns, they have been hearing about all those struggles, all those campaigns that we're doing. It has just been so inspiring. And believe me, and believe in yourself, what we are doing is working, being back in workplaces, listening to members, and building industrial campaigns. We are growing our union membership, and we should celebrate that fact always. We are bringing through a new generation of activists, many of them who are in this hall today, and we are a financially much stronger union as a result. We've got much to do, folks, but this really is a better union. The changes we've enacted over the past few years mean we're better, stronger, and will continue to improve as we go forward. The equal pay demonstration yesterday says something about how far we have come as a union. It symbolises a union that's not inwardly looking, but is facing outward, campaigning and organising. And Congress, I promise you, it will fall to us, this generation, who once and for all will end wage theft from working class women. We secured commitments for Labour over an enforcement body on equal pay, and by goodness we are going to make sure that that Labour government delivers. That is going to be our legacy. Now, always saying we have to be focused and never ever stray away, because we did that. We did that and it caused us a problem. Never stray away for the workplace and the industrial in the union. When I was the Scottish Secretary, I got very frustrated when the politics down south was increasingly felt as though it was focused on Westminster and a million miles removed for the day-to-day experience of our people. But that doesn't mean we're not a political union and that we understand the importance of politics. And for all our justifiable criticisms of Labour, we are delivering a new deal for working people that will give us rights that we've not had for generations to organise and collectively bargain in workplaces. It's our political voice and political campaigning that kept the 4 Harland and Wolff yards alive. It was our political voice and our political strength that allowed us to ensure that British Steel was nationalised. And never forget, we were the first union to call for the nationalisation of British Steel at Scunthorpe. And you should be pleased and proud of the fact that the Labour Chancellor feels it's appropriate to come to this Congress and feels obliged to turn up to address you and to make announcements that she did. Announcements that will mean thousands of jobs in defence manufacturing and that will transform working class communities across the UK. And on Sizewell, 10,000 jobs that project will create, including 1,200 apprentices, and it wouldn't happen but for this union and but for you. This union is and always will be about real jobs, real people and real communities. Congress, this is a big, wonderful organisation. We organise across the United Kingdom, the island of Ireland. We've had delegates here for the Channel Islands, delegates here from Orkney. We've got membership in the Western Isles, on Shetland, and everywhere in between. And let's never forget that. The wonderful diversity of this union. We should celebrate that and always commit to support each other. And above all, Congress, let's never, ever take what we have for granted. What we have is precious. We are the temporary custodians of this great organisation. And it's our work and the work that you've done over the past few years, the difficult changes that we've embraced as an organisation, that mean we are building a better and better and better and stronger union. Thank you for all that you do every day. And as we leave here, what we will commit to do is kicking on, and we're going to take this union to new levels, the likes of which we have never seen before. And very finally from me, it's a huge privilege and an honour to recognise the wonderful contribution of my great friend, a comrade to so many of us, somebody who's given so many years' service to this union, has presided over Congress, much to your frustration at times as delegates when he's red-lighting you and getting you on and off. But, Malcolm, the words fail me in terms of the contribution that you've made. Please come up here, brother. It's right that we recognise you for the last time sitting in the chair as here at Congress. You will continue to be a friend and comrade to many of us. Thank you, Malcolm.
Can I just say thank you to all and every one of you? And will you do me a favour? Please watch your red lights for Sonia, please.
Thanks, everyone. Look, recharge the batteries, rest up. Next week we go again. Fantastic job. Stick with it. Solidarity.
Please stand for the red flag. Congress, I can now officially close Congress 2025. Thank you all, safe journeys home, and I hope you all sleep well tonight. Thank you.